Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to our Saturday night program. We've got a program called Awakening After the Watchtower, and we have a man named Eric. Well, he's originally from Rhode Island, as we say. He's a former Jehovah's Witness, but he's down there in Tennessee, and we're looking forward to Eric coming on tonight. Let's bring Eric on screen with us and see what Eric has to say about his program tonight. Hello, Eric.
Hey, buddy.
So, anyways, what's on the agenda tonight?
Well, I hate to do this, but we're gonna have to reset the phone lines if that's okay. But I'll go and talk and give a little prequel while you do that, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, no, let me reset the phone lines. Yeah, let me do that right now.
I tried to tell you that before you switched over, but I went mute.
All right, so let me.
Sorry, buddy.
So what we have to do is we have a phone line here. It goes off every 6 hours. So it's been on for about 3 or 4 now. So we don't want it to go off in the middle of Eric's show. So I'm going to shut it down, and then we're going to get started up here again. We have to shut it
Thanks,
down.
guys. Thanks for being patient, everyone.
All right, so let's do that. All right, we're going to dial in. We get the phone line set up. It's kind of unique what we do here with a phone line.
Welcome into the live Six Screens conference calls. We thank you for joining in. To speak up and talk, press *6 on your telephone. When you are done talking, press *6 to mute yourself. Remember, when you are unmuted, your phone is a microphone and picks up on all noises in the background. We hope you enjoy the programs tonight. You will now be placed into the conference. Muted.
All right, hold on one second. Let me just unmute stuff here. Hold on. All right, can you hear me, Eric?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that our telephone line is up and running. Sometimes.
All right, thank you, Rick. I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me just make sure we get that phone line open. Let's just check one thing here, and I can just give me a second. Come on. All right. All right. Yeah, I'm unmuted, so people can hear us. So you're set to go. So I'll cut you.
All right.
I'll try to get that banner off the bottom. I'm not sure why it's there, but
sure, no problem. I was gonna have you play a short little clip. I sent it to you, but it doesn't really matter. I got plenty of material. That way we don't complicate things.
Yeah. Okay,
how's that sound?
That's good. Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah. Tonight's subject. Thanks for coming in, everyone. I guess before I talk about the subject, yeah, you're here with us at Awakening After the Watchtower, and Daniel can't be here right now. He just can't do the show at the moment, but we look forward to him coming back and being the host or co-host of the show. But anyways, the reason why we chose Awakening After the Watchtower, the Awakening, is because there is an awakening happening, isn't there? People are waking up, and people are realizing what's going on around them. Slowly but surely. Not everybody will, but there is a great awakening happening, probably similar to 1975, if not worse. But anyways, that's my introduction, and we're going to talk tonight about slander, and slander in the organization, and even just how it's a common thing to do in business practices. But we won't get too much into that. We're going to basically focus on, have you been slandered from the organization, or even we'll put in gossip too, because both of it is harmful. And I know I have stories of my own to talk about that. But before we do that, I was going to bring up a couple points. Before we get into our topic, I was going to bring up a couple points that I saw. I always like to follow jw.org, and they have 2 new videos, nothing really too big. One of them, what was it? One of them, I'm not going to play the video for you. It was only 5 minutes, and you can look it up for yourself. It's about the hospital liaison committee. But I'm bringing this small point up, a side point up before we get to our main topic, because we all have been speculating what's going to be the new, what's the word I'm looking for? The new light. What's the new light? What's the brand new light going to be? I don't know how to say that without saying new. What's the current new light? that they're going to bring up. And we thought some of us had on Six Screens and on YouTube, on other channels, have said the blood doctrine. But after watching this video on the hospital liaison committee, they doubled down and they bring doctors in from Canada, right? Let's see here. I have it written down. Ontario, I think. Sorry, bro. Sorry, guys. Let me just look for it. 1 second. Okay, Ontario and Toronto area. And I'm just thinking those are nice cities. And Rick Farron is from Boston. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island. He's from Boston, Massachusetts. I believe back in the day, and I don't know if those numbers still stick now, but back in like 2010, 2012, Boston, Massachusetts, or the Mass General was number 2 in the world, I think, and Rhode Island Hospital was 5. Not in the world, in the United States, sorry. Um, uh, those two were top 5, I think, in the United States, if I have it right. I'm sorry for not getting the statistic, but I remember something like that. And I can vouch for it. It was a good hospital. Does everyone have access to a good hospital? So these guys are in the video. They're saying, and again, I'm only not playing it because I don't want to bore my audience. But they definitely well, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Let's see here. Oh, they're definitely putting a lot of stress on how important it is. They say that there are more than 16,000 brothers that serve on and coordinate some 200 liaison committees around the world. That's a lot of 16,000 men that are telling you to sacrifice your life. Because let's face it, not everyone has the best medical care. There are some hospitals that, like even the one in Tennessee, they told me that if when I had an internal GI bleed, they told me lower GI bleed. They said that I basically had to get a blood transfusion. I asked if there was other options, and they basically said no. And this is in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I find it that the governing body are cherry picking some of the good stories, and they put that out there for you to see, and it's manipulating your mind. Like, look how much they care about you. But if those kinds of procedures don't exist in your current hospital, you're screwed. And I find that so awful. They also give a brother who had cancer, and he was able to live through the treatment. It was an alternative blood treatment, and they're using that, just to tie in with what I'm saying about some of the elite hospitals. Like, this is in Ontario. I didn't look it up, but I imagine that some of the major cities have better hospitals than, say, if you're in, I don't know, like a backwater state like Mississippi or something, or even Tennessee, like I was talking about. But that's what I wanted to bring up for the videos that have come out on jw.org. The only other video that was out was boring. It was the Gilead graduation school, and people like Wally and other people have covered it, and there's nothing really to talk about it. But anyways, I was gonna get we're gonna go on to our major topic, and our major topic is slander. Have you been slandered by the Watchtower, or by not even the Watchtower, but have you been slandered by people that belong to the organization, elders, friends, God forbid, family? Because that's what happened to me. My own family will slander me if I make them look bad. It's happened with several family members. Let's see here. Another popular thing that I'm seeing lately with slander, and I'm not going to talk about this much, just a little bit, but it seems to be cool to slander Jesus these days. People are taking out, I'm not the perfect Christian. I see God as kind of like a murdering maniac, the God of the Bible. But Jesus wasn't like that. What he presented himself on the earth, from history and from historians and from the Bible, he seemed to be kind and loving. And people are slandering Jesus. People are destroying statues of Mary and just destroying Christianity. And I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but I do know that it's wrong. Like I've heard some things like Jesus is a misogynist, or Jesus doesn't exist, it never did. He's a fable, or the Jewish people say, you know, that they he was a man, but he wasn't the Messiah. He's just some guy, or I think that's what they say. I don't know. There's a lot of Jesus deniers, and I find it funny that people will say that Jesus was a misogynist in the same breath, and then say, well, he never existed. Well, which was it? And that's slander that where I will stick up for Jesus. And this isn't about a Jesus show at all. I'm about to change the subject. But what's right is right. If the books and history says that the man was something that he wasn't, and you're just basing it on words that were in ancient Hebrew, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But anyways, guys, how about you? I'll start it off, and I'll open up to the audience in a second. I'll start off with my story, maybe one of them, because I had many of them, of slander in the congregation. And I don't know if any of you all have experienced that, or even gossip. But I've had slander from even my own family. When I was disfellowshipped, I had personal knowledge that my uncle was going to strip clubs, and he was still in the organization. And he saw me as a threat, so he started slandering my name. Sorry, I got distracted because somebody told me that let Rick know that the phone line's not working. But anyways, I should probably look and see if the comment section is going. But anyways,
Hold on one second, Eric. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Yeah. Is the phone line working? Susan, you're on there now. Can you hear? Can you hear me, Susan? I have no.
I can hear you, Rick.
All right.
I can hear you.
All right. Just want to make sure. We've been having all kinds of trouble. Well, what it is, the first of the year, they change all these platforms around, but I don't know what they're doing in here tonight. So you can hear me. So we're all set. They can hear us on there, Eric. Yep.
all right, thank you, buddy. I always get paranoid if it's not going through. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, well, we got that over with. Where was I? We're talking about slander. My personal story, or one of them, I have many, was a family member. And when I was disfellowshipped, sorry for backtracking. And he knew that I personally knew that he went to the strip club, and he's married with a kid and stepchildren, and very worried about it. And I guess assumed the worst of me, but I wasn't ever going to say anything. And I know that he slandered me because a friend of mine told me, but it's more than a friend of mine told me. I confronted him about it because I was disfellowshipped. He wouldn't answer my call. But when he got disfellowshipped himself, he took a look in the mirror and he said, yeah, I slandered you, and to protect myself. I've been slandered by elders for disagreeing with them and saying I'm pissed. I know I've said this before. I'm a broken record. But slander exists so much in the congregation. My own mother, my brother, I've been slandered like a lot. Gossip, all of it. But I'm not going to talk too much about myself. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to talk any stories that they have, that whether they've heard about someone being slandered, or they've been slandered, or that an elder has made accusations that weren't just? I'd love to hear what you all have to say. Well, hit *6 if anybody has anything to add. But if not, I can keep talking for a little bit.
Hold on.
Oh, hello. Hi, Susan.
Rick, did you need to talk first?
No, I'm just checking the lines here. They're open. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say that even before I was leaving, my mother-in-law would keep telling my husband to divorce me. And I thought that was just so cruel. She had no business in getting involved in our marriage, and there was no real reason for him to do so, but she did not like me. It started
This was your husband's mother that wanted you guys to divorce?
my former, not Rick's mother, but my
Or
former,
sorry, right. I'm sorry, your ex-husband. My apologies.
my ex-husband, my mother-in-law, and especially one of my sister-in-laws, they were just cruel. I might have told the story before, but I walked in it was a holiday, which we weren't supposed to be gathering, but we did anyway. And I asked my sister-in-law when I walked in, can I do anything to help? Because that's what most women do. You know, we need kitchen work, like can I cut up celery or something like that? She said, well, I need my house cleaned. I was like, what? So everyone else was in the kitchen talking, having a good time, and I'm vacuuming her floors and cleaning her toilet. That's what
Wow.
that's what they felt I was worth, and that was horrible too. To me, that was just as bad as speaking ill of me. It's making me clean her house. I mean, would your wife ever ask anyone to come in your house and ask them to clean it when you're inviting them to guests? It wouldn't even occur to her.
We have similar experiences, but more so with you and Desiree, because my wife, I'm sorry, my mother rejected my wife, and from the moment that I was dating her, and even after marriage, she tried to break us up and conspired against us, and she was really crappy to her. Slandered me too. She did not want my wife in the family, and the reason was because she was shy. My mother's this obnoxious extrovert, and just she's that typical witness that love bombs but never stops love bombing, because that she does that, but then at home she treats everyone like crap. And she tried to, the Bible says what what man has put to or what God has put together, let no man put apart. And my mother didn't pay attention to that verse at all, and it sounds like your mother-in-law didn't either.
Well, I wouldn't put up with what she wanted. She wanted to come and live with us. And I told my husband, I'm walking out the door. You have this woman to live with us. Because if she was in the house, she'd rule. When she came to visit, she cooked. She decided what we were going to eat, what we were going to do, what our schedule was going to be, the whole bit. How she didn't like how I was raising the kids, anything she could say. And I told him no, and she just didn't like that. She wanted him, we had a full basement, 1,000 square feet. She wanted us to turn that into an apartment for her. And I wouldn't do it. And so that's when it started. Yeah. And I just feel now there were different reasons, like if she was very sick or she really needed help, but there was no reason. She was living in a town where 2 of her daughters lived. Why would she move away from where 2 of her daughters lived, who worshipped her, to move to Chicago? She was in Wisconsin, to move to Chicago with me, except that she didn't think I was doing a good job. So she wanted to take over. That's it.
Yep. I understand, Susan. We have a lot in common with that. We really do. And isn't it sad, because don't we see a pattern where Watchtower just causes damage in certain departments of our lives, and we all have that in common, or not all of us, but certain people. Like, we see the patterns; they keep repeating.
But you know what? What's good about you, Eric? You put Desiree first. My husband put his mother first. He promised to buy. He said he was going to give me build a back porch for me. Never did. Mm-hmm. He said he was going to buy me a new house. Guess who got the new house first? His mother. Then she got the porch. She got everything first before me. In fact, I never got any of the things he promised me, because I think he was just looking at stuff, scouting it out for his mother instead of me. So that was it. See, you stood up for Desiree. He did not stand up for me. And that really hurt.
Yep. It's so good to hear from you, Susan. I haven't heard from you in a while, and I know you've been sick. Are you feeling a little better?
I'm doing better, actually. I hope it stays that way, and I do what I can.
That's awesome.
And I enjoy being with everyone. I truly do. I love being on Rick's program. That's why I became solidly away from the witnesses in the beginning, which was about 10 years ago, 11 years ago now. So yeah, that's how I started with the whole six screens thing. Was I just happened to find Rick, so and here I am today.
That's awesome, Susan. It's always good to hear from you. I'm glad you're doing a little better.
Well, thank you. Give my love to Desiree.
I will. And she loves the sorry for the crochet work that you did for her, the what you knitted for her.
Oh, the blanket.
The little
Sure.
blanket.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. You guys are so sweet.
Okay. Nice
You
to
have a
talk.
good night. If you want to give another call in, help yourself. You know, you're always welcome, hon.
I'll be listening.
All right. Well, it's always good to hear from Susan. But is there anyone else out there that wants to comment or give a comment? I'll look at the comment sections real quick on the screen. I don't see anything right now, but anyways, yeah, you know, slander and gossip, it just reeks in the congregation. It's like a poison, from what I've gathered. Obviously, it hurt Susan really bad, and like Susan and I have, or Desiree, I should say Desiree and her have in common, that they both have been gossiped by their mother-in-laws by family. I've been gossiped by or slandered by family. I've been gossiped bad by the congregation. I get a random call from an elder, and he says, "Oh, hey, Eric, you know, I hear from Tony Silva. He says that you were talking to your disfellowship brother." I'm just like, geez, you know. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I did talk to him. He's like, well, yeah, you should probably like. He was being kind of cool, but he's like, probably shouldn't do that. But it's just, don't you guys feel like you're always getting your beans busted, if you will? There's always there's always someone micromanaging you. Somebody. It doesn't even have to be necessarily a micromanagement. It can even just be somebody like if you outshine an elder, if you outshine a family member. I swear, Watchtower has kept people down so much that they want to outshine you, so they'll bring you down just so you can't be above them. And my mother is the perfect example of that. It's almost like she wanted me to always depend on her, not myself or my wife or someone else. You know, is there someone that's trying to call in? I hear a little chatter in the background. Nope, I guess not. Someone might want to mute themselves if they're not trying to talk. I can hear somebody in the background. But yeah, slander, gossip. Geesh. Oh, when my wife and I got married, we were the only ones like by ourselves basically because my own mother had slandered us and she used young sisters in the congregation. I don't know what my mother's deal is. She reminds me kind of Satan himself. She just has bad intentions, you know, and I think that's what makes a Christian really is not, and I'm not trying to get religious at all, but I think what makes a good person is your intentions. If your intentions are bad, then you're just not a great person, you know. There is hurtful gossip, but then when you tell the truth, they call that gossip too. I know, right? That's a good point, Cheryl Saint Germain, because it's totally true. Um, they'll all of a sudden push it off on the people and say, "Oh, they started 1975." Yeah, pretty bizarre, you know. But anyways, let's see what else we got to talk about. Give me a second, guys. We talked about the hospital liaison committee. Well, what else do we have? We have coming up in January. Won't that be interesting to see how the people are going to respond um, to the new light of that you can be an apostate or a Jehovah's Witness stroll in at the last minute. I don't know if they said apostate. That might be pushing it. But it'll be interesting to see how this goes, for sure. Is there anybody that wants to call in? If you hit *6, you can give your opinion. I hear somebody in the background.
Here is straight too far from fact. The UK's culture secretary asked Netflix.
I'm getting. Can someone please mute their phone? I'm getting a little distracted.
A former
Yeah, hold on, Eric. What's happening here is that the system is not working properly. If you're not speaking up, mute your phone. Okay, just hit *6, mute your phone. That would be so nice if you guys could do that for us.
Sorry, it's just, I don't mean to nitpick. It's just a distraction. Like I lose my train of thought when I keep hearing something like a conversation in the background.
I can't. For some reason, the phone line is messed up tonight. I don't know.
Do you think people can call in? Or well, yeah, if that person's on, they must be.
There's a bunch of people in here right now. We got about 20 people in here right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, Eric and Rick.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, it's Tim. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me, Tim?
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I can hear you. So the problem with the phone thing, when it was not working for a bit, and when Rick put it back on, everyone's phone was on auto unmute, and that's probably why someone's got it playing in the background. So yeah, I had to literally mute it straight up, but that's what happened. So whoever didn't do that, you'd be picking up their sounds.
Thanks for the info, buddy.
No worries. On the topic of what you're talking about, so you're talking about that new light about how you can come in supposedly at the last minute now. Are you talking about that they're going to kind of drop that? I know.
The last thing I talked about was that they're going to introduce that in January 1st, I think, Monday.
Okay, yeah, because that was at some Watchtower meeting, wasn't it, Jeffrey?
We saw it before everyone else, but I think they're going to release Part B on January 1st. So someone like my parents probably don't know anything about it. They're low-ranking witnesses.
I was going to say, do you think I could be one of the governing body, Eric? Because I got some new light before that came.
Go ahead, spread it, buddy.
Yeah. No, I had this exact. All of my family members are still witnesses, and they try to ring up from time to time, and they're going to bring it on to the witness thing. And last year, one of them said, are you coming? Anyway, I kind of said, look, when all of this happens, because I still believe in not the witness version, but Christianity. But I said, when this happens, I said, it makes sense there's going to be a lot of people that can get in the door. I said, because look at ancient Egypt about what happened when the Israelites left. And my brother goes, oh, no. He goes, look at Noah. He said, when the door was shut, the door was shut. But fast forward to the new light, Jeffrey Jackson, he brings up that exact Israelite thing that I said. And he said the former belief was the actual Noah's Ark thing. So I thought, well, I must have got that new light when the governing body did. Yeah, I've laid that out on my brother. So no, you're right.
Yeah. Hey, Tim. I've had a beer for about 4 or 5 years, and maybe I'm a governing body member. I got new light before them.
Yeah. Well, I had that idea about the beards too. So definitely that's two things. And I was
you and I and Gigi all for governing body.
Yeah, I could be, but I mean the thing is, then I'd have to be. I don't know how old Gage, like what a name, Gage Flegel and that, aren't they? How old are they? I mean, they're anointed. I guess technically I'm old enough to be claim anointed as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. No, because I don't know. Are they even 50 yet? Those two new governing body guys, and how it's kind of odd because like I'm 49 in January, so I'm like
happy birthday, man, or recent belated birth, or recent to come birthday.
No, thanks. But yeah, it's kind of like when you see those two new governing body members, I think they're similar age, and like it makes you. I mean, I haven't been involved like hard of the witness since I was 21, but if I had to think back that anyone that was my age, you know, or similar back then could claim anointed, you got to laugh. You know what I mean? Like these dudes are part of the governing body and they're claiming anointed. Yeah, so yeah. But anyway, I think I've run out of ideas of what else to say. But that was pretty much it. The new light rubbish. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think the new light would be?
I've got really no idea. I mean, they're changing a lot of stuff quicker than ever.
It won't be the blood doctrine like I talked about earlier because they have a video on it about they double down on it. So we can throw that out. But I'm still curious myself. I can't pin it down yet.
I can't see them doubling. I can't see them backing off on anything that's major like that actually matters.
No shunning. Yeah, maybe lighter shunning, but that I can't see them getting rid of this fellowshipping arrangement. I think they'd have an uproar.
Anything that's going to get them a lawsuit, I can't see them changing. So it would only be minor rubbish, like, you know, beards or whatever. Like, honestly, if the common sense doesn't even prevail in a conversation, you can't critique anything. To anyone that's in that organisation, you can't critique anything. You know, they're not allowed to use common sense when it's, I mean, on that beard stuff and all that, those other things, it's just like, you just have to have $29. I think that's Brad's. I think that's
is that Brad?
Actually. Oh no, I think he's on unmute. No, it sounds like he's at work.
Well, I see Brad commenting in the YouTube section. He says we are now allowed to wear shorts, and I don't know what this is. Must be an Australian thing. We are now allowed to wear shorts and singlets on stage, maybe. I don't know what singlets are, but yeah, shorts would be funny. I've never seen a witness wearing shorts, like out in service or on the stage. I would die.
The last meeting I went to ever, I deliberately wore shorts.
Have a great day. How are you, bro?
Oh, that is Brad, but I don't think he knows that he's unmuted.
Yeah.
He's talking, dude. He's at the liquor store right now, and he's where he works, and he's talking to his customer. That's funny. Love you, Brad. Sorry if I'm joking around tonight a little bit, everyone. I know there's serious topics that we're talking about, but sometimes it's just good to laugh.
Yeah, for sure.
Holy, sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good, bro. We love you. It's all good, man.
Sorry about that.
You're good, bro.
Talking about me, they don't even know I'm here.
No, I could recognize your voice there, Brad.
Yeah, I did too. You can't fool me.
Mute myself.
Oh, unless you want to add something, but it sounds like you're working, bro. But good to hear from you, man.
Maybe the new light is they're going to allow people to wear shorts and singlets on stage while giving talks.
What's singlets?
That's like a shirt with no sleeves. What do you think?
Oh, okay. That's not a thing. It's not called that here. So you're talking like a wife beater, like a tank top.
Yeah. That's what singlet is.
I was going to say wife beater, but I didn't. I thought that was only an Australian thing.
Nah, not at all. That's very much a Rhode Island thing.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that. Maybe you're allowed to wear no shoes on stage.
Well, that'd be crazy. Hey, well, think about it. What about African countries or poor countries that, don't have the apparel? I'm sure that, right? Like, where do you draw the line with dress and groom? I have to agree with Rick too. The sisters being able to wear pantsuits or something, or pants in general. I think about it. It's actually expensive to be a Jehovah's Witness. when you think about, I don't know what the price of a suit is today. Back in the day, I could get a cheap one at the Burlington Coat Factory for $100. Today, I don't. A fitted suit. Especially if you get one fitted to you. I don't know what, $500. And how many suits do you gotta have and ties? I know not all these brothers and sisters are wearing nice suits, but what are the governing body wearing? Do they have Gucci suits? I don't know because they got the Rolexes. Or at least it seems like it in the pictures. I've seen the comparisons of the watch and what's on their hands. The pinky rings. It's kind of obnoxious. Kind of, yeah. We all know it is. Anyone else want to add anything before I ramble too much?
One of their jangles, right?
Okay. I heard someone in the background, but it's all good. Let's see. Oh, get to the comments real quick.
Hello? Hello?
I'm not got anything right now. But anyways, so yeah. I was gonna have Rick play a clip, and I'll just describe it to you instead, since it's just kind of a pain in the butt. But it's a clip from Malcolm in the Middle, and I'll just say I can't do it word for word. I'll just explain the scenario. And there's a drill sergeant, and then there's Reese. He was a character from that. He's like a young man, maybe a teenager, and he's in like either boot camp or in the military or something. And there's a drill sergeant, and he says, "How in God's green earth did you get your shoes shined before everyone else?" And he says, "I just did what you said and followed orders, and polished it and blah blah blah." And he says, "I realized that if I just follow orders and I just do as I'm told, that everything is easier. It's not about smart or dumb. It's just that I'm a tool and I'm a happy tool, or happy being a tool." And the drill sergeant says, "You must be proud of yourself." And he says, "I don't know if I am or not." He says, "I'm waiting for you to tell me." And he says, "My God, a soldier like you comes along once in a million years," or whatever he's once in 100 years, or whatever he says. And it reminded me just of the governing body so much. And I wish Rick could play the clip, but it doesn't need to be played. I described it for you. But what the funniest part is that the guy, the drill sergeant that's telling him this, his tag says Hendrix. That's his name. And so Rick was talking about Hendrix tonight, and ah, Hendrix is a slime ball, sleazy, stinking guy. Oh, you know what? I want to shut up for a second. Debbie Moore tells me, "Eric, there's a female caller who said hello a couple of times. She's got an English accent." Oh, whoever's on the phone, I did hear a female voice. You were like in the far background. So if you were on speakerphone, I can't hear you. If you want to try again, hit *6 or unmute yourself, and just make sure you speak clearly into the phone line. Love to hear from you. It's just I can't hear anyone. I mean, I heard someone. It would just sound like in the distance. But yeah, if anyone wants to call in, I don't got many callers tonight, and that's kind of my Achilles heel. I'm not the greatest at keeping it going by myself. I try and do what I can, you know. What was I even talking about? I got sidetracked. Sorry, everyone. Is someone there?
Hello, Eric. How are you?
Good. How you doing? Who's this?
Joe.
Oh, hey, Joe.
Nice to hear you.
Good to hear you too, man. How are you and Fran doing?
Good. How you doing, honey?
I'm doing good. We wanted to call in and support you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's slow tonight. It's all good.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling in.
Oh, you're welcome. Different friends have been calling and sharing some good circumstances. I've got to relate one of the friends who we know. I'm not going to mention his name, but he said that, and he's all excited, and it's as if he discovered something new, and he was thrilled about this. And he said, "We just, my wife's coming around," and he said, and it's not because of doctrine.
not. It's I kind of backed off on talking doctrine with her, but it's something else now that she's getting interested in, and it looks like she's softening, and it happens to be something to do with their Social Security, their future, their budget, practical, real life things that matter. And it's like he discovered a secret. And so he's so tickled. And I said, yeah, she'll realize that, you care for her best interests, she's your best friend, whereas the society is not their best friend. And that's where it's at. And that was so nice. It was a good lesson for all of us, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a good story.
Yeah, find out what's practical in the person's life, your mate, and see what she or he would like, what needs, and then address that. Never mind, forget all about doctrine. Stop being an adversary and be an advocate, because it's going to get harder and harder for them in the congregation. Not
Excuse me.
even yeah. So and honestly, I certainly hope that the PIMOs think harder about what they're doing and how long they take to come out.
Yeah. I mean, don't you agree that, like, at some point enough is enough and they gotta bail off, like, jump ship?
Well, if not, I mean, if the ship is full of rats, you don't want to be one of them that's still on.
I feel like the very least that a PIMO can do is not support the organization. Fake everything. Don't contribute your money. You can't. If you're a PIMO, you can't contribute your money. To people who are covering up child sex abuse. If you want a clean conscience.
Let's say you stop giving money. Let's say, well, you're still there. It's still your very number, your presence. Anything, and any part of support is support for everything that they're doing that's bad. All you have to think of is that Hendrix guy and realize that just being in supports him. And he's one nasty creature.
He actually reminds me of a guy that was in my Kingdom Hall. He was a substitute circuit overseer, and he gave talks at the district conventions. And they have like the same personality. It's the weirdest thing, Joe and Fran. Just very bizarre, because like he's a salesman. He's just as sleazy as Hendrix is. And one of the I've even called him out on it. He doesn't listen to people. I watch him. He'll say, "How are you doing?" And then he'll just kind of like look off into the distance, and he's not paying attention. Just a real sleaze, and he can give talks like no problem, like, because it comes natural for him. He's a natural BS artist. You know what I mean?
I know. See, that organization, it helps people reveal their true character.
Yeah.
It either helps them realize that they're nothing like them. They're honest-hearted, they're sensitive, they're caring, and they value what's true.
Oh yeah.
Well, they don't. The society doesn't. And so if another person that's in feels like them, well, they're going to become just like them. And so their true character is going to get revealed. And unfortunately, that's the way it happened. The same kind of concept happened in Nazi Germany. The townspeople who were normal people, law-abiding, God-fearing people. They were Christians. The Germans were Christian faith. They were in the camps for guards. Well, they ended up carrying out atrocities that they never conceived of doing. All because they were put in that position.
Oh yeah.
And they accepted it. They accepted it.
Yep.
Well, if they didn't accept it, they wouldn't be in that position. But see, if they willingly accepted it and put themselves there, they became that. And that was a terrible situation. They became something they never dreamed they would. I swear that's the same thing that's going to happen in the Watchtower.
Yep. I agree that we're seeing a lot of changes. We're seeing a lot of it's almost the governing body always say a historical moment or convention, but we're seeing history happen because we're seeing the fall of a cult.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. You can finish up, Joe. I just wanted to let Calvin know. I see in the comment section he wants to speak up on the phone line, and we'll let you in a second, buddy. Okay.
Yeah. Say hi to him. We're speaking next week.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I love you guys so much. Good to hear from you.
Love you. Love you, Desiree.
Thank you. I'll tell. Oh, she heard you. She's listening. Hey, Calvin, are you there, buddy?
Hi, Eric. How are you, mate?
Good, man. How you doing, Calvin?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Yeah, just sitting out and that.
Do you have a good Christmas?
I did actually. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You were rocking the Santa Claus outfit. I liked it.
Yeah, no, I wore my Santa Claus outfit. So now I'm allowed to wear a beard and all that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to go back to this new light. I reckon the new light is going to be sisters not wearing head coverings.
Yeah, that's a good point. Wow. Yeah.
Because sisters are discouraged to take brothers along to their Bible studies, right? Because they know they have to wear head coverings.
Mm.
So they're going to have to explain that to the Bible students, wouldn't they? So
yeah, what a good point. I never thought of that because it's the meaning too.
Yeah. So when I was pioneering, sisters wouldn't take me on their Bible studies because they know they have to wear a head covering.
Mm.
And you have to explain that to the Bible students, so they wouldn't invite me to the Bible studies. But if they done away with that, they can invite their husbands, other brothers on their Bible studies, couldn't they? So I reckon that could be it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like just to add to what you were saying, my when I was like, I don't know, 16, I was with my grandmother in a Bible study, and I think she put a head covering on or something because I was there. It was just so stupid because I said the prayer. I don't know. It was dumb. And I'm just like my grandma, what was she in her late 50s, early 60s or something, somewhere around there, or late 50s maybe. And she's putting her head, covering her head in a towel or whatever the heck for a teenage brat. I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, that very well could be something they get rid of. They got to make it easier for everyone. The sisters deserve it too, don't they?
Yeah. So I reckon that if the new light was the beards for the men, there's got to be something for the sisters, haven't there? So there's got to be something for everybody, haven't there?
Yeah. Hey, who knows? Maybe now that Toni Morris is gone, they'll bring yoga pants back.
Yoga pants. Oh dear. Anyway, that's it for tonight.
All right, Calvin. Hey, good hearing from you, man. Love you, brother. It's always good talking to you, man. I'll see you in the dope chat.
Okay then. Take care.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Have a good night. Well, good hearing from Calvin, and always good hearing from our Australian friends. We got quite a few of them, don't we? But anyone else want to comment before I keep going, or anyone else on the line that wanted to talk? Let me look at the comment section and see if anybody has anything to say here. My husband should be doing the. No, I don't know what the context is. But so when my husband says you will never change those people, how does he know the guy was going to quit that day? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, hon. Well, anyways, back to Hendrix and just what Watchtower's doing. They're so desperate to stay afloat at this point, and that's why they slander. What does Watchtower slander the most? Us apostates, us people on this program, people who are people who are speaking up for truth, and then they slander you because they say, "Oh, they're what do they call us? Mentally diseased." I looked it up. There is no such thing called mentally diseased. They just make shit up as they go along. Cheryl St. Germain says, when the PO's wife brought the circuit servant to my house and wore a head covering, she took her hat off, looked at it, and stuck out her tongue at it. I wonder if she got reprimanded. Yes, it's just not natural. It's disrespectful. It's almost like maybe I shouldn't go there, but what is it, the Muslims that have to wear the burqa or whatever over their head? I mean, really? But anyways, I don't want to start a religious debate. But someone there trying to speak up. I hear somebody. Hello? No. Anyways, yeah, you can get reprimanded over anything with Watchtower, really. I knew a circuit overseer who his wife left the organization, and boy, was that the talk of the town, and all you heard was about that, and he got removed as a circuit overseer. But it's just, and he didn't really. He might have stepped down. I don't know. This was in Rhode Island. This guy was from Louisiana, but the organization is just falling apart. People aren't happy. People are escaping. I've seen so many situations where people are just running from this organization, or they just don't want to do it anymore. My father right now, he's retired or semi-retired. He works a little bit, like driving a cement truck, just occasionally part time. And I can't. He hates Watchtower, and he doesn't know it. He hates having to be a Jehovah's Witness, but he does it anyways. As a good little submissive sheep, right? Or do you do the Stephen Lett impression? Bah! Goodbye, little sheep. Wow, is that guy gonna have? That guy's gonna have that meme forever. Pretty stupid. Sorry if I'm just rambling. There's not much people in the audience section, so I'm just freestyling here and trying to keep you all entertained. But
Hey, Eric.
yeah, go ahead.
Eric. Yeah, hi, Eric. It's Dick Borgie.
Oh, hey, Dick.
Give a little. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing? How's Connie?
Good.
Or Constance? Sorry.
Absolutely, he's wonderful. But I just kind of thought, Rick's been doing this for close to 19 years. Never has, and the governing body monitors this channel, monitors 6 screens all the time. They know exactly what we're talking about. You would think an organization that calls itself The Truth would come on, because Rick would let them on. Rick has invited them on many, many times. When I had my programs, I would invite them on too. You want to show us where we're wrong, show us the error of our way? Never, ever come on. Elders, they know this is going on. What we're saying about the governing body, what we're saying about the false doctrines, the prophecies that don't happen, they're how greedy they are for money, how they hurt people. Nobody ever comes on and debates us. And
Right.
beyond that, they have never come on and sued us for, if you slander somebody like Tony Morris or anybody else, and you say things that aren't true, you can be sued and you can be hurt monetarily and probably even put you in jail for saying things that aren't true. Rick has never got any cease and desist letter from the Watchtower because what we're saying is true. If we're not sure, Rick's famous line is, don't take it to the bank and try to cash it. But the stuff that is true that we can verify, we put it out there, and we're not afraid of these guys at all. And I'm sure other people have heard me say this over 6 screens over the years, but me and Rick went up to Columbia Heights, whatever it is. It's the Watchtower headquarters, and we went up there and walked up and said, we want to speak to the governing body. And he says, my name is Rick Farron. He says, oh yeah, we know who you are.
Wow.
This is security. And they had like 5 guys come up from out of the walls. It's 2 of us in our late 60s. They get these like 20.
High alert. Watch out for these 2.
Yeah, But, and the reason I bring it up is because so many of the PIMOs they're afraid of the elders or they're afraid of the governing body. These are thieving, lying SOBs, and they should be put against the wall and shot. And you shouldn't be afraid of them at all, especially if you have a relationship with Jesus Christ. You don't have to worry at all about the elders or what they're going to say or what they're going to do, or if they disfellowship you. I didn't realize it then, but when I was disfellowshipped in 1990, that was the best day of my life. Even though I lost a good wife and 2 kids, a beautiful home, all that was gone. But I didn't have the PTSD from worrying about Armageddon coming, because I realized that it wasn't true. And I'd say God bless Rick Farron because he came over to my apartment a lot, and showed me how bad Watchtower was, and he connected all the dots. And 6 screens have been doing for the last almost 19 years, been connecting all the dots and letting people talk and let them say what they want to say. And he's a marvelous guy. He's the best there is. I'm telling you, I know this guy close for 20 years. Best there is. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dick. I have to agree with a lot with everything you said, really. And Rick is really a great guy. It's so nice to have a community. I didn't Desiree and I don't know how many years it's been. I'm not going to try to figure out. Under 8, maybe 6, 7, maybe 8 years. I think so. I don't know. Anyways, we haven't had any friends since we got marked as apostates and since we moved to Tennessee. And I haven't had a single friend in my phone book other than one guy that I get some pot from. Sorry, everyone. But he's not even a friend. And then I, coming along 6 screens and being in a dark place, I meet a lot of good people like JP and some friends from Australia. Brad and Kelvin and Tim's cool too. We haven't talked at all, but other than the show, but a lot of nice people and like Debbie Moore. And it's like I won't keep naming people because I'll run out of names, or not run out of names, but just not remember everybody on the spot. But all of a sudden I have a community, and it's nice because we need that, and we need to be told that what we're doing, we're not going to go to Armageddon or whatever. We got programmed so bad from these guys, and you made a lot of good points, Dick. And you went through a lot. Getting disfellowshipped in 1990, but you said it was the best thing for you. It was really hard for me too, for Desiree and I as well. And It is the best thing. Unfortunately, even with all the sacrifice and pain of losing everyone and everything, somehow it's still better to be mentally free.
Hello, Eric. I
Oh yeah.
100%. I really do. We're next door to you guys, believe it or not. We're in South Carolina, and we're right
Oh,
here. At the Tennessee
who's
border.
this?
If you're looking for friends, come on over.
Who's this?
Wide open. Dick Boogie.
Oh, Dick. Oh, sorry. For some reason, you might have been on speakerphone, so I can't hear your voice as well. I could hear you fine. It's just that I didn't recognize your voice. Oh, you're in Carolinas, right? I thought you were in Massachusetts.
I used to be, but then this girl came along. Her name was Connie. She grabbed me and she forced me.
Oh, okay. So you're from Mass, and I didn't know you lived in the. Yeah, you know what? This sounds good, man. Where do you live in North Carolina? You said.
I'm in South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina. Yeah, that's close.
Evening. It's close to the Tennessee border.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I'm in like I don't know, mid Tennessee, I guess, like Nashville area.
Oh yeah, okay. I know. I was stationed in Memphis, Tennessee.
I'm 45 minutes from Nashville.
Okay, so you'd be about 4 hours from my house then.
Oh, that's cool, man. It would be great to meet y'all.
We're like 2 hours from Atlanta.
Yeah, we're 2 hours from. Well, that doesn't help him. East Tennessee. East Tennessee. Sorry for this.
I've got a Atlanta just brings back old memories because when I was like 17 and I was dating Desiree, I went to South America, like Chile, South America, and I did some missionary work. Not really. It was just these guys that faked missionary work. They worked in America for like 6 months, and then people would donate to them, and they'd go over and preach the good news, but live like kings with the money they made for doing construction. Because when you go to Chile, they had like the biggest house in the block, you know, because their American dollars went far. So I went there, and we had a layover when coming back, and Desiree and I were dating, and we ended up in Atlanta, and she lived in Florida, and we met there. I don't know why I'm telling this story, but it just reminded me of that when you were talking about Atlanta. I'm getting way off topic. Sorry, y'all. But that was a good experience. I was with an elder, and I saw the true sides. That you're gonna like this, Dick. I saw the true sides of this elder. He like we're alone, and we went on this trip together, and then met up with friends. So when we were like going over to when we were in the airport and like whatever, and got laid over, and we were in the city. We were in a magazine store, and he's like, "Hey Eric, what do you think of this truck?" And he opens up like Car and Driver. And then when he opens it up, though, it's not Car and Driver; it's a porn. And this is an elder doing this with a woman spread. You know, like this guy had no. He just showed who he really was. That the whole trip was obnoxious a little bit, but got drunk. You know, I drank too. I was because the drink. Oh, I was 18, not 17, and the drinking age was 18. So I was able to drink there. But you always see the true side of witnesses if you get close enough to them. Sorry to get off topic, everyone.
Hey, Eric, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, it's Jerry JP.
Oh, hey, buddy.
Hey, what's up? There's something playing in the background. It sounds like it's some noise.
From me?
Yeah, it sounds like some noise on the phone line. I don't know.
Yeah, I do hear something playing in the background.
Yeah, not sure what that is. I just called to say what's up. Give you some support. In
Yeah,
show.
someone's watching TV in the background. I agree. I can hear it. I Bob Roberts. I can hear a TV in the background. Yeah. If anybody's Dick, is it your phone? Maybe is it on speaker?
It was.
Oh, I hear Rick. Dude, all right, you guys are gonna laugh because I'm like, I hear some 1950s gangster like guy in the background, and it ends up being Rick. Sorry, Rick. Bob Roberts, the listening, whoever it is, they're listening to Rick Sperrin show. Yeah, we can hear whoever it is. Somebody on the phone line. You're listening to. I don't know. You're on the phone and YouTube at the same time. So if you don't mind muting yourself or have something to say. Anyways, we'll keep going. Did you have anything to say, JP? Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that yeah, it's been one really, I guess the way to describe it is like a mind blowing year for Watchtower. But thing with a beard, like recently, my mother lives with me and stuff, so I was just getting some coffee from the kitchen, and she was on the phone with some sister, and she was talking to him and like how who is our Aussie friend from one of the Aussie crew, Calvin. He was just talking about some of the stuff about about the beards and stuff, and like how they might do like head coverings with like sisters and that. But yeah, I was listening to my mother when I was making some coffee the other day, and she was talking to her sister on the phone, and they're talking about the beards and saying, well, I wonder if the brothers are going to do anything for us, like, give them pants or like some kind of privileges or anything. So I think there's some kind of a expectation in the organization amongst the sisters, because I think the ratio, like in the Pew, Institute or whatever it is, that there's like a lot of surveying a lot of these organizations and different stuff around the world. I think it's like a 65-35 ratio for like brothers to sisters. So certainly I think they're going to have to probably do something for the sisters, to compensate or that. But I thought it was kind of interesting. And then we did have some witnesses over at the house. My mom was having like a gathering, and it was like literally the day after the beard thing, and that was a big thing on the topic amongst the friends that were there at the house. And I was just listening and observing and stuff, and it was pretty interesting about how they just go along with it, just like nothing, and it's just so great and that, but they don't really, think logically or anything about how this, like why they just could change, anything in that. But I did raise one thing, I was like, well, I will never let, because they're asking my opinion. I said, well, I would never let any other man or anybody ever dictate like how I will live my life or that, I only go to what God says or what's in the Bible. And that's how I put it to them as witnesses. And they said, oh, okay, well, they couldn't disagree with me, but I did. It's just little things like that you can present to them to show them like and undermine the governing body.
You used to get your balls busted too for your mustache, right?
Oh yeah, like speaking of that, because we've been talking before, and I remember, like I'm 40 now, but when I was in the organization, all through my 20s, I used to like to have sideburns or chops, and I always got a lot of flack from the brothers and stuff. They would say, oh, keep it above your ears and stuff like that. And then when I was in my 30s, I didn't have sideburns and that, but I was wearing a mustache at that time, which I still do at this current time. But they would always say, oh, I always chose to wear like a bigger mustache, like like a Doc Holliday Wyatt Earp style mustache, and that's how I grow it. And they would always have a problem with that, say, oh, you need to cut it, and you're drawing attention to yourself and all that. And even with this, and I never even had a mustache, and they would give me that many problems. And then even times when I had privileges, like microphones or any of the other stuff. I remember a few times at some points in my time in my life when I was working construction, and I could just barely make it to the meeting, and I was exhausted. And I would have like a shadow, I didn't get to shave, and they would literally say like, "Oh, you can't do mics tonight." I'm like, "Well, how come?" They're like, "Oh, you forgot to shave and that." And now it's not even an issue. So to me, it's just astonishing how much of a big difference they can make and how much they can go back. But it makes me wonder, that announcement was on a governing body update number 8, like on a Friday. And I had gotten pulled, at least in my days, as being an active witness, and active, what I'm saying is in like trying to have privileges, give talks, and being active in the organization. And over that period of years, which was probably over a 10, 15-year period, I probably got called to the back room like 7, 8 times, like over, different facial hair. And I never even wore a beard or grew a beard. It's kind of strange how Stephen lets us wear a beard or whatever, but we grow beards, we don't wear them. Well, I guess it's, you can go, I don't know if that's completely correct what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying. Like, we grow beards as men, and I just thought that was always, ridiculous. Even the point where I didn't have even a beard, but it makes me wonder. I think this is going to cause quite a bit of a controversy in the organization, because there's going to be a lot of people like me who got a lot of stuff over that, and they're going to look back to those elders and that. And going along with that, it makes you wonder how many congregations across the United States or other countries where they look down on any kind of facial hair, especially beards amongst the brothers. And imagine that week at a midday week meeting, like on a Tuesday or like a Thursday or something.
Yeah.
You have this elder giving counsel to a brother like on a Thursday, telling him about his facial hair and not growing a beard. And then the brother wakes up the next day to see Stephen Lett giving the governing body update saying, "Oh, well, we don't have a problem with beards or such things." I mean, those elders must feel, like an ass.
Dude, what a good point.
It's not gonna go good, and that. So I think, if anything, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot with that. And it's just gonna make it more complicated with the different types of beard styles. And I think 2023 they shot themselves in the foot a lot of times, especially with the no service time, and they haven't even gotten the new light that they're gonna get on this next governing body or the next broadcasting the rest of the annual meeting, which we've already watched. So who knows what's going to happen. And I think also too is one thing to pay attention to in January is going to be the actual real service report, because they released like a portion of it, like the baptisms and that, I think about a month ago, saying that there was almost like a record amount being baptized. But how can we really compare that until we really see the amount of like peak publishers or publishers that have left, or that are not have left, but we need to see the amount of whatever Watchtower released is in their next complete report. We need to see the amount of witnesses that are currently publishers. And if you do that and you subtract the number of ones that are baptized and that, then you'll actually probably get the real number of how many left. So who knows? Because like Rick said, there possibly could have been up to 1 million or so left. We don't know. Watchtower is saying that there was a record amount, I think, 240,000 baptized in that. But what does that really mean if 500,000 people left, or 300,000 left? That means you're kind of in a deficit of people, and the organization is really going down in members and that, and they're just trying to cover it up with that. So who really knows? But that's all I wanted to say right now.
Yeah, thanks a lot, JP, man. It's good hearing from you, man.
Yeah, I hope I didn't go on too long, but I was just wanted to.
I never hear from you on the show, more so in person. So, no, thanks for everything you added. A lot of good points, dude. Watchtower is really in rough shape, and they're in panic mode, I believe. Cat B in the comment section says, I think the governing body are trying to appeal to the younger ones as they are the future. Yeah, they're trying to indoctrinate our children bad. It's happening really hardcore. But anyways, I think JP took off. But thanks for calling in, buddy. It's always good hearing from my buddies, from all y'all. I love y'all. It's always good to talk and for us to heal. And just to kick the theme again, people are awakening up. Let's see. Cheryl St. Germain says Cat B Watchtower has 3 themes it follows on women. She's a witch. 1, she's a witch. 2, she's a whore. The comment went away. What happened? I gotta see if I can find it. Well, now I feel stupid, but I can't find it. And then 3, she's mentally diseased. I had to misspell number 2 because YouTube tried to censor me. Yeah, it cut it out on me too. I had to find it under. Anyways, in Watchtower, all women are the verge of becoming. Verge of becoming Jezebels or harlots, and don't dress like a crawl up in front of the brothers. Well, I think I get what you're saying in that. Shoot, if you're a woman and you have a figure, you're going to get harassed by the brothers because these guys are perverts, and it's not about modesty. These guys aren't modest themselves. It's disgusting. As far as the Jezebel comment, I just want to remind everybody that if you go back to, I think it's that yellow book for the kids. What the heck's the name of it? The My Book of Bible storybook. And Jezebel has red hair. Dude, that does not follow history at all. What is there? She was not a white redhead Nordic person or Scottish or Irish. What are you talking about? These guys are out of their mind. Why do they always? Why does Watchtower always come down on the redheads? There's another situation where there's a redhead in their literature. I can't remember, but I'm babbling anyways. Was someone on the phone line? I hear someone in the background.
Yeah,
I don't want to. Go ahead.
Just a quick thing, Eric. Just a
yeah.
quick,
Hey, Dick.
The Watchtower would have you go out and service 30 or 40 hours a month. They never mention how many hours you really should spend in prayer. Prayer is a secondary, and it should be the first thing, but in the Watchtower, it's secondary. Number 1 thing in the Watchtower is make new recruits, bring in the money.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah. What's funny? You said thank you, Rick, and it works because even though my name is Eric, in Rhode Island, everybody calls me Rick or Ricky or Ricky Bobby. That's why in the comment sections, I'm Ricky Bobby because what my uncle used to call me Ricksta. Ricksta. I don't know. So I respond to Rick a lot. Yeah, good point. Good point, Dick. Let's see. Cheryl St. Germain says, I talked to a sister who left and she said an elder counseled her on her shoe, her effing, I'll just say it, her fucking shoes, which meant her shoes looked like a harlot. That is messed up. It's in parentheses, so I'll quote it, it's in quotation marks, so I'll quote it. Yeah, hell yeah, that's crap. What a bunch of BS that. Shoes? Are you kidding me? What, the high heel? That meant that guy was such a pervert that he couldn't control himself and had bad thoughts and then took out his bad conscience on her. Basically, it's like self projection. That's horrible. All right, I've heard a lot of things like tank, like shirts or skirts or tops or whatever. Sorry if I don't know the lingo. Certain things. My wife got counseled for having a skirt that was pinned. It was pinned, but he saw a quarter inch of skin, maybe, right? Quarter inch of skin. And this guy's getting what a boner. I'm sorry to be gross, everyone, but he's telling me, Eric, we don't want people to see what only you should see, and I'm like, what? Because I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. So I'm sorry, Cheryl, for Cheryl Saint Germain for going through that. I believe all of it because I always hear horror stories from these sisters, especially elders' rooms. Debbie Moore has plenty of horror stories what she went through. My wife too. A lot of sisters have, and heck, not just sisters, brothers too. My brother, my own personal, my fleshly brother. They were when he was like 17 or 18, had a relationship with a girl, and they did whatever. They didn't even have sex, but it was still a sin in Watchtower's eyes. And they wanted all kinds of the dirty, nasty details, and I'm not going to get into it. But it's just like, what is wrong with these men? At some point, that it seems like they're sexually feeding off of like they're perverts. I don't know. Maybe I'm slandering them. Maybe that's not the case, but it certainly seems like it. Someone wanted to speak up. I hear someone in the background.
Yeah, Eric, I really think you're right. I mean, they'll go to the nth degree to tell a sister she's showing too much cleavage, and then those same elders will go to the beach and see a young, well-endowed woman running around playing volleyball, and the tongue will be hanging out. She's such 2 feet, so beast.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous, and think about it. They've been correct me if I'm wrong, Dick. Has Watchtower ever really come down on bikinis in their literature or in their governing body videos? Because we know Anthony Morris has a war on tight pants and yoga pants. He called it spandex, but that's the same thing. So what about bikinis and bathing suits? Isn't that immodest? Isn't that even more immodest, right? In his standards?
They would have you just fellowship wear a yellow polka bikini because it wasn't modest, and you have to be modest at all times. But like you said, those elders do get off on listening to people's sex stories and who did what and where it was and how long did it take and did you orgasm or did you try to turn them off? And they did stuff. That's why some of these guys love being an elder. And usually, these elders in all the congregations are hiding pedophiles. In the Lowell Highlands congregation, which I was a member, we had 5 known pedophiles, and I could name them. And I'm sure there's a pedophile in every congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. They'll hide them. They won't say anything about them. But I tell you what, if you're a sister and one of the top buttons come undone and you're showing a little bit of cleavage, oh my God, it's like the brothers are going to go crazy because it's a little cleavage. They're going to rape her in the back room. The way they think is asinine. That's all I can say about that.
Hi, Eric.
Did that happen in South Carolina or in Massachusetts?
Yeah, it happened in Massachusetts, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, me and Rick
well, very interesting because you know why? I wonder if it's a New England problem because Rhode Island was flooded with it, Dick. Bad. I was affected by it, by the child molestation, by 2 Jehovah's Witnesses on separate occasions, separate people. One a sister and one a brother. The brother was more closer to my age, so it was more of like sexual harassment or sexual bullying or whatever you would call it. But I'm the least of the stories. One of my good friends, he was raped by an elder, and there was like in the Warren congregation in Rhode Island. the Warren congregation had like a reputation of just being flooded with child molesters. I mean, we're talking elders raping their own kids. And I know these people. I know all the stories. It's actually common knowledge to the congregations of what's going on. There's a family that had what the heck, the Codys. He molested every single child basically in his family, and he had like six kids, I think. Just a nightmare of problems. And I don't know what it is about Rhode Island, but it's a small state, and I've seen several situations where there's like predators, like, and even in my own Kingdom Hall, there was a guy who his name was Ralph Hero, and he was a known pedophile. They didn't make the announcement though to the Kingdom Hall, but it was an underground announcement. But they missed some families, and some families were like had been affected by pedophilia and themselves, and were really upset that when they had him over for dinner, the elders didn't warn them. But yeah, it's a problem. It seems to be in New England, or at least Massachusetts and Rhode Island area with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and Pennsylvania, obviously too. It's going to catch up to Rhode Island and Massachusetts. I swear.
Well, I think you're right. You know that the very end of Massachusetts at Cape Cod, right at the end of the peninsula there, I think it's Dennisport. I'm not sure anymore. It's been a while, but it's nothing but homosexuals.
Yeah.
And,
Hello, just to let you know, homosexuals are not necessarily predators, but yeah, I know seems like it would be like that, but it's not.
I wasn't getting to that, but that wasn't my point at all. I was just talking about.
I must be. No, I'm talking to Rick. I mean,
Dick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was talking to Borgie. Myself, I don't want to be with children nor animals.
I guess my point would be that it's a perversion.
Brand new fucking thing that they're making me do, and I did not know that I had to do that. I can't do what I said.
Hello?
Screenshots of everything. It's like I can't lie and say that I have a do. I don't fucking anyway. What the fuck it is?
What is going on in the background? Hello?
Amazing that somebody is on the phone swearing up a storm.
He knows he's unmuted. I don't think he knows. That's
apparently
somebody's cursing up a storm in the background.
No, the phone is unmuted for him. He's talking to
I know now when you call in, it's not muted like it used to be. Now it's unmuted, and then you have to mute yourself.
I think people just forget. They maybe want to call in and they're like ready to talk, but they don't have a chance to call in, and they forget to mute themselves.
Right. Well,
it seems to be fixed, so we can get past that. Sorry to interrupt you, Linda. Linda, did you want to conclude with what? Not conclude, but like continue with what you were saying?
Are you done saying what you wanted to say, Carrie? I mean, I can wait till she's finished.
Okay, whatever. I'm just trying to keep the peace here.
Okay, thank you, Carrie. So I've been thinking about your wife and how shy she is. She's shy, and about how your mother could not stand her. And you've talked about how your mother is kind of like really social, and I picture her being able to like work a room and keep things going and people laughing and things like that. And my head started thinking, when you're around somebody who's shy, she wouldn't be able to get anything out of her. She wouldn't be able to have any control over her if she's shy. She wouldn't be acting like the rest of the room that she feels, she may feel she has control over. And when people are quiet, you don't know where they're coming from. And so your mother she can't peg her. She can't read her. You know what I'm saying? Read her. So, or she might have a fear that your wife might have her figured out. Now, that would be intimidating.
Yeah, for sure, hon.
My head was going there. It's all
and it's so superficial because the real reason why my wife, I mean, she is shy, but like the moment she's comfortable around somebody, it like the barrier breaks or the shield or whatever, you know. But my mother couldn't do that because her energy sucks. And for anybody who's an empath or an intuitive, they look at my mom and they see the show. They see like the circus, like an act. And
yes.
There's a musician that what's her name? I can't remember. It's called Carnival, the name of the song. And it's talking about people putting like faces on, masks on, and like other personalities to fool people. And that's like that's who my mom is. And so people who are like really like genuine don't really actually like my mother. I've noticed the pattern. And your mother is a narcissist as well. So you might have the same experience.
I do. And so, which is different than like when we go to work and we have our professional voice and then, we have our home voice, right? This is above and beyond when they're like fake. I can't, it's like I want to break out in a rash or something when people are like, so sweet. And, oh, how are you? Like, I just want to run away. It creeps me out.
just talk normal. I don't know. Sometimes I guess I'm endeared sometimes to people who are really social. I don't mind it, but in a certain amount. But when people have bad energy with it, when they're not like grounded and just like not very overly nice and just enthusiastic, and it might be a little much on you, but at least they're showing you love. It's the people that do it and they don't mean it, and it's just like you feel drained by them. They're putting on a show.
Yes. So that was just my thinking of possibilities. I don't know your mother. I don't know if that's true. It's just that's where my
No, that sums it up. I think we have a lot in common with that. Yeah.
So thanks for letting me comment.
Oh yeah, thanks for calling in, hon. It's good hearing from you. When do you have a show? Do you have a show coming on anytime soon?
Tonight at 9 p.m.
At 9 p.m. California time?
Yes, on my own YouTube channel, which is Apostle Babe Linda James. And I'll be going live. Yeah.
All right, hon. I'll I think, let's see, 9 o'clock, if it's 10 now my time. So yeah, mine will be ending soon. So yeah, I'll if I'm still up, I'll come on aboard. Or like at least in the comment section.
Yeah, so it's like within the hour. So it's 8:09 at my place, so I'll start at 9. Okay, thanks for letting me comment.
All right, hon. Good hearing from you.
Show tonight. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Well, there's Apostate Babe. All right, our favorite apostate, right, guys? Was there anybody else that wanted to talk out there? All right, let me get my notepad if I can find it. See if I have anything else to talk about. I kind of got off track here. I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Eric?
Yeah.
Eric?
Yep.
Hi, this is Carol Paradise.
Hey, Carol.
Hi. This is kind of off of what you're talking about, but,
go ahead.
It's quite odd that when, if you're in any other church and you leave, they don't go looking for you. If you leave, you leave. Now, when I left for a reason, It was mainly because I had to take my children and go into hiding. And the last place I would be is in the Kingdom Hall, because that's where I would be found. So sometime, maybe a few years later, they found me up in the door-to-door service. The next thing I know, I get a phone call and an invite to a meeting, backdoor, in the back room meeting, and I never showed up. So, when they announced me, and I'm sure they did, a few years later, I bet everybody's mouth was wide open and thinking, oh, she hasn't been around. What did she do? Probably adultery. But that's the way they are. They love to gossip anyway. But I think that's very interesting, though. When you leave, they still have to disfellowship you.
Yeah, you're right. Like, even if you didn't sin, they still want you disfellowshipped. If you say, I don't want to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore, well, that's not a sin. Where in the Bible, right, Carol, does it say that that's a sin to leave a faith? The only sin is to not excuse me. The only sin is to deny Jesus.
Right.
Basically, is what I see from the Bible. I mean, a lot of Christians just say, "Do you believe in Jesus is your Lord and Savior? You're saved." It's good enough for me.
It's funny, when I first started studying, they insisted that I write a letter to my church, asking me to take me off the rolls. I was Catholic, and they told me to take me off the rolls and remove my name and all of that. And I did. I wrote the letter. I felt kind of weird about it, but but they never, my church never sought me out or anything like that. They just let me on my way. I told them that I was now a Jehovah's Witness, which I wasn't. I was just studying, that's all. So, but it's odd the way they run things. It's a control. They do with you what they want to do with you, when they want to do with you. And then when it's time to toss you away, that's what they do. No love.
No, you're right. No love. And you know what else is really a rotten? Like, if you've been to other churches, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I have when Desiree and I were in hard situations, we got help from the food banks, and it wasn't from Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't do SHIT for that. They don't help you out. They don't help you with food. If they do, it might be the people might personally help you, but not from Watchtower personally. And we got help from a lot of Christians, Baptists mostly here in Tennessee. And I mean, you get a wheelbarrow full of food, and good food. And other places, they'd give you several boxes, and you'd get a sermon from the preacher of the church, and he would just say, "Don't thank me, thank God," and then he would just give a quick sermon and say, "This isn't from me, this is from God, and God bless you, and hope I can feed you well, or He can feed you well," he said. But like, I saw real love there, and like they offered, like, if you needed, like, to just talk about your problems, or talk to somebody for spiritual help, you could talk to them. I've had people pray for me randomly. I felt more love, and I don't really believe in religion. I don't really want anything to do with it because I'm just done with it. But I still felt love from it, and I do believe that there are good Christians out there that outshine the witnesses.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. I mean, around my area, if somebody needed rent money or food money or something, they would knock on the church's door and rectory, and without question or anything, they would hand you over some money and help you. You didn't have to be a member or anything. So, the Jehovah's Witnesses are, let's face it, they're fake.
Yeah,
It's all
they
fake.
are. Yep. That's the best way to describe them. Fake. Cat B in the comment section, this goes along with what you're saying, Carol. She says, Cat B, or he or she says, the elders tell you to go to the political beast system for handouts, and it's true. They if you need food, they'll tell you to go to the government, but then they want to take credit for it too. It's sick. Well, sorry, got a little quiet here. Oh, my phone keeps twitching on me. Sorry, guys. All right. Anyways, but yeah, it's like there's no low that Watchtower isn't willing to go here at this point. They're in self-protection mode. I'm not cutting you off, I hope, Carol, or anybody else that wants to call in. Bob Roberts, even if the Jehovah's Witnesses do help you, it comes with judgment and gossip about how you needed the help. That is so true. Even if the Jehovah's Witnesses do help you, it comes with judgment, gossip, and how you needed the help. Yeah, how about even how they've managed to manipulate help by sending people, a lot of them, some of them professional, a lot of them unprofessional, going to the southern states of our country where they got hit by Katrina or other uh, uh, hurricanes, and then get a paycheck for it. They want the insurance check. That's not charity. And on top of it, I thought to myself, I was in auto body for 17, 16 years. And when I was a painter and I had to warranty my work, if it peeled or something, if I did a step wrong, I had to warranty. If it didn't look right, I had to warranty it. What is Watchtower going to do with? Are they going to send these monkeys back to warranty their work? No, they're going to. How many people? I would love to know anybody that got screwed from the Watchtower, from having work done to their home and having amateurs do it, and it leaking and nobody to warranty it. But anyways, I know I'm getting off topic, guys. Sorry, I'm rambling. Is there someone on the phone line or anybody that wanted to talk?
Hey, Eric.
Hey.
Eric, I was talking to a good friend of mine. He's really, really.
Who's this?
And this is Robert.
Oh, hey, Robert.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
He was kind of a little upset about the beard change, and he was saying, man, they just out the clear blue sky, and I mean, this guy he's pioneering and everything, but it really kind of shook him a little bit. And then he was saying, well, they might as well let us wear dreadlocks now, so what do you think about that? Are they going to allow black brothers to wear dreadlocks to the meetings now?
Wow. Well, that's interesting. Can I add something much more minor to that, but we'll build on this story together? There was a guy in the early to mid 2000s that I went to the congregation with. He was around my age. I didn't really care for him because his vibe wasn't the greatest, but he's an okay guy. It just, he's got a family and he's all right. I'm not bashing him, but he's like, let's see. So if his mother is half black and his father is white, he's like a quarter black, right? Somewhere around there. And so he had a soul patch, right? The thing under the chin. And the brothers said you can't have that. And he's like, yeah, I can, because in my neighborhood in Rhode Island, black brothers could have soul patches. It was not talked about like they all had them. I don't know why, dude. It was where I came from, but like if you were a black brother, you could give a part on the stage with a little patch of hair under your chin, like that little soul patch. But like this guy, he's like he had it, and the elder, the Kobe of the congregation, or the presiding overseer, I think at that time when it was, he said you can't have it. And he goes, no, I'm black. And he goes, nah, you ain't black. I mean, you can see black features on him, but he's mostly white, you know. But still, it doesn't matter who is this guy to tell him what he can and can't have of what race and what race he wouldn't be. Stupid. That you can't. You know, he is part black. I'm quarter Italian. I consider myself part Italian. You know.
Yeah. And then also one that he was saying that maybe they'll let the sisters wear pants to the Kingdom Hall. You think they'll do that?
I don't know. That's You know what? Who knows? They're gonna do whatever it takes to keep their people in, but I think they're gonna make bad decisions. The beard thing. What do you think? Was that unnecessary?
But you know, that's funny. 40 years ago, I had gave a talk and I had a beard, and the elders chewed me out so bad in the back of the Kingdom Hall, and I was so angry. And I wrote to the society. I said, Jesus had a beard, so why is it such a big deal? And so the society wrote me back and said, well, it's because you might stumble some people. You know, that was in 1983, the year I got back.
Robert, where can I ask where you were living? Where this happened? Just curious for the culture.
Los Angeles, California.
Really? Huh. Usually California is more like easygoing. I thought with Jehovah's Witnesses stuff, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, but with the elder.
It depends on the congregations, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And then the elders' kids, they got away with murder.
Yeah. Yep. Same situation that I had. It's like the good old boys club. All the elders take care of each other's kids, like, you know, give them a pass.
Yeah, yeah. All right, thanks, Eric.
Yeah, thank you so much, Robert. Great from hearing from you.
Okay, bye.
All right, take care. Well, you hear it, guys. We got all kinds of stories, all kinds of doesn't it make you feel good? Doesn't it make you feel like Watchtower's crumbling? Doesn't it make you feel? I mean, I know you know what Rick's probably been preaching it for a long time because I'm a newcomer and I don't really know, but I have seen him saying how Watchtower is heading down. But you know what? It's no longer the boy that cried wolf, and I don't mean that Rick's doing that, but this is serious. Watchtower is doo doo. They're screwed. And they're screwing themselves. That's the funniest part of it all. We don't have to do anything anymore. All we have to do is just put our arms up, sit back in the chair, right? If you got a rocket chair, rock back and just watch it all happen because they're doing it to themselves. Why the heck would you bring up the beard policy at this point? There's so many serious things to talk about. The beards, really? You guys made. I can't imagine that Tony Morris was cool with this. That's probably one of the reasons why he got booted off. I don't think he wanted any of these changes. He probably said you guys are apostates. And that leaked. Remember that leaked video? Did any of you guys see that? The leaked video of where Anthony Morris it got deleted and it never came out, but we all saw it as apostates or XJWs, and not all of us, but some of us. And he basically said that Satan is after the governing body more than ever, and I felt like that was an inside message, and conveniently that doesn't exist in the organization. I know more about the governing body and the Jehovah's Witnesses and all their videos than my friggin' parents. I study it, and I study it with a critical thinking attitude, and I hate watching it. The videos are boring as hell. I try not to bore you guys with it. Anybody in the phone line that wanted to talk? I hear a little bit going on. I don't want to just talk over anybody.
Yeah,
Eric? Yeah, somebody there?
Yeah, Eric?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. You're a little far away, but I can hear you.
Okay, just a second here.
Yeah, go ahead.
How's this? This a little better?
A little better. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, the phone, the volume was down here on this a little bit.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
fine.
for the most part, relating to your comments here on the Watchtower, yeah, we do believe we do believe that the Watchtower Society is tanking, and we do believe that there's more stuff happening in 2023 than it ever did before. Like we had the big protest here that said that we're going to be free in 2023 here. Big protest in Washington, D.C. there. First time
Yep.
ever. And then there's going to be some other protests scheduled and so forth. And every time the fact is that they're always going around and trying to change their rules, relaxing their rules right now. Stupid rules that were not promoted by either the Jewish Torah or the Roman Church writings or Christianity whatsoever, like the beards and clothing and everything like that. If you read, that's the customs of the country or the traditions. They pick those up. They never got those rules and regulations from God, as they say. They made up their own rules and regulations as they go along. They make up their own laws. They make up their own rules. They put themselves above the laws of God, put themselves above the laws of the Constitution of the U.S. and so forth. And
Do you think that they use Jehovah to get their way and to like almost replace them as like when they say do it for Jehovah, they mean the governing body or the organization?
Yeah, they mean do it for the organization. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not talking about the kind of a spiritual being or a great spirit or whatever it is. They're talking about the organization. Yeah, they are Jehovah. They are the God that you want to, that they want you to worship and so forth. You go by their rules and regulations. They're not God-given rules and regulations. So, as a matter of fact, the Jewish Torah talks about, exposes the rebellion of the Hebrews. It says they did what was right in their own eyes.
Yep.
That's exactly what they did. So, it's just preposterous the way that they do things, and they're coming out with all these rules and regulations. And I myself never knew for a long time, what's going on here with the dress codes and the beards and everything like that. And I finally had to look it up. And then I finally asked some questions about it and so forth, and that's what it comes out. It's customs of the country. It's traditions and everything like that of the country. That's where they pick that stuff at. And it's just like in this country right here. Once they go to the barber shops all the time. They keep their hair cut and so forth. Next time around, they grow it long. Next time around, they go back to the shorter hair again, like most older people. Now, the people that had shoulder-length hair years ago, most of them take and they cut it again and so forth, shorten it up and zigzag back and forth. Nothing has anything to do with any gods or higher powers or demigods or anything like that. It's just customs of the country. And when it comes to the Watchtower, they make their rules and regulations, like I said a minute ago, and they try to claim they come from God, that they're inspired. Well, they're not.
Yeah, really good point, man. I mean, isn't it aggravating that they say they're not inspired, but like, I feel like they're gaslighting us at all times. They're infallible and not inspired.
They're trying to gaslight, and they're trying to brainwash and everything. That's all they do. And the people that fall for it, they fall victim to it and so forth. But pretty soon, the people that wake up and everything like that can't accept it, so they're not welcome there anymore. Or the fact is, they're not comfortable anymore there, and so forth. Because I myself had a crisis of conscience with my religions and everything like that and so forth, and I was not comfortable anymore. It's a story for another time. I can't get into it tonight, but I was not comfortable anymore, and I was not welcome anymore and so forth. And pretty soon I just left. So it's been since 2010 right now since I've been to a church service. I've been to a meal several times. I've been to a meal once at a Methodist church, and that was that was because I was invited down to it and so forth. And once in a while I go down to the Salvation Army for a meal, but I don't participate in organized religion anymore. I definitely do not participate. I do not interest myself in the Watchtower Society because organized religion, for the most part, is phony, and they have sold us out.
Oh yeah, for sure. They've taken advantage of us, and they've wanted our minds, and it's too much. Bob Roberts says in the comment section, "We don't follow fashion trends. Meanwhile, we follow the fashion trends of the country you're in," which is true. Like they're talking both ends out of their ass. Like they're saying, "Oh well, you know, the scene of this world is changing," but then like we don't follow the world. So like that scripture they make no sense. I think they're setting themselves up for destruction.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, another thing too that's interesting and everything like that, the vast majority of these religions is what has been termed. I didn't coin the phrase, but others have coined the phrase. They're a 501c3 religion. They get a tax exempt status. So every time you go to this church, the churches and all that, they say you have to subject yourself to the government. You know, subject yourself and be obedient to the government, regardless of what their scriptural beliefs is, and so forth. And then number two, no matter which church you go to, they never ever talk about the First Amendment. They never talk about the Constitution of the United States. They never talk about freedom of religion, and so forth. And they never tell the people, you know, how fortunate we are here now. The constitutional classes will tell you that, and some of the political parties, activists will tell you that, and so forth. But they never do and all that. And what I've found out too a lot of times, the first place that your freedom of religion and your civil rights and human rights are violated is within a church. Not within the outside by unbelievers, but within the church. So.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that the organization tells you how bad Christendom, right? I say that with quotation fingers, quote, you know,
yeah,
how bad the world is and false religion and all that, which is kind of funny or ironic because I think Watchtower is a false religion based just on the simple fact that they don't give charity, so you're falsifying that you're a religion. You're a cult and a business corporation first and foremost. But I digress. What I was getting at was when I was at this church, it was a church for kids. My sister-in-law was disfellowshipped, and I was disfellowshipped, and we lived together. And I lived with I lived with my brother and my sister-in-law, but they weren't married yet, so they were dating, and all the three of us split apartment. And she told me that she had a piano recital for the kids that she taught piano for at a church, and I went in feeling weird because I'm not supposed to be in a church. But you know what? Everybody was really nice. I talked to a lot of really nice people, and the food was phenomenal. It was Rhode Island, and you know there was like sausage and peppers and meatballs, and like there was friggin' lasagna, chicken wings tossed in either buffalo, and there was like a garlic one. There was all kinds of good food, manicotti, like all kinds of good Italian food, anything you could think of. And the people were good, and I'm like, well, how is this any different than Jehovah's Witnesses, other than they don't shun them, they're actually good people, you know? They definitely demonize everybody around them, and I think it's arrogance and egotism or narcissism to think that they're God's one and only people when they act like assholes. Sorry.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what they are. I mean, they're arrogant and so forth, and prejudice and hostile towards other religions. As a matter of fact, back in 1998 here in Delta County, Escanaba, I was told through the grapevine that the Watchtower Society church down here, that when it was here, I guess they moved out about 8-10 miles down the road to another town, but because their original church down here is closed. They said that they made an announcement that they will no longer visit any clergymen and so forth because they are servants of the devil and so forth. And so therefore, a lot of the clergymen never ever experienced seeing the Watchtower Society again in this. I think that what happened was, is where I got the source, is this guy was an active, was actively a minister and so forth. And a friend of his come over to see him who was a Watchtower operative. And then he shared that with him and so forth. But after they had a conversation and so forth, after a few conversations, the guy didn't show up anymore, but he did relate that. He did reveal that information to this gentleman over here, and so forth. So I've understood that they've made similar announcements in other areas too, and so forth. Not only here in Michigan, but other places too. But it's really outrageous and preposterous. It's really outlandish, bizarre, and macabre the way they operate their religion. It just totally defies fact and logic.
Don't they act like amateurs?
Yeah.
The governing body. They act like amateurs running $1 billion corporation. They it's like they don't know what they're doing. It's so they say that Jehovah's backing us, but like, is he really?
Yeah. Well, it's just like I always said, the doctrines of the Watchtower Society is total and absolute insanity. And oftentimes they've come out and they said that the people that leave the Watchtower Society are mentally ill. Well, maybe they are mentally ill, but the reason for them being mentally ill then is because the doctrines of the Watchtower Society is total and absolute insanity. So.
Yep. Well, I mean, I have anxiety and PTSD problems, and I guess you could call mental illness those things from Watchtower. My wife too, at least the PTSD. I don't want to speak for her, but I know she has that. I think a lot of us do. I mean, just elders getting into your business. I don't know about everybody else, but I always had elders in my business, and I ended up what's the word I'm trying to use? I ended up building up just like a thick skin, not just thick skin, but like being blunt and just being like, not fuck off, but like have that attitude. I wouldn't say the words, but I'm like, get out of here, like. I wouldn't put up with it. Sorry for swearing. I cuss like a sailor. I actually used to work at a shipyard and being around it all these years. Even when I was a witness, I had a hard time with it. Yeah.
Well, sir, I try my darndest not to cuss so much, but I've got that problem too because I've been born and raised around it all my life. I didn't like it and so forth, but it just so happened that I've been drugged into that situation. I wish the language would have been more constructive and more encouraging and upbuilding around my environment, but it wasn't. So they, as a matter of fact, in my days and younger days and everything like that, the only time God and Jesus Christ is used is in cuss words.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was in a different environment because in auto body, because I did auto body for 17 years, I worked with these guys, especially the Italians, and they would cuss all the time. Like they'd be especially the bodymen. I was a painter. They'd be lining up something on the frame machine and it wouldn't go right, and you'd hear every blah 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 every word in the book, right? But these guys were Catholics and they did believe in the Lord, and like they were Christian men. They just It was what it was.
Well, you know what? I gotta share this one with you. Speaking of the Italians here,
Sure.
What every ex Jehovah Witness should do and everything like that is put up a sign in front of his house, like the wise old Italian said, that private property, no trespassing. P.S. You cross the border line, your rear end is mine.
That's funny.
Yeah, there was another one too that went up in Nebraska someplace. It was on television about private property, this farm property, private property, no trespassing. P.S. If you can run across this farmer field in 10 seconds, the bull can make it 9.
Say that again.
Okay. In Nebraska, they had a sign on a farm fence: private property, no trespassing. P.S. If you think you can run across this farmer's field in 10 seconds, the bull can make it in 9.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's what the people have to do, is just get some backbone and all that, and just stand up and say, I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. So.
Oh yeah, I feel you.
Working darn good. Been working darn good because the people coming on 6 screens has been doing that. We've been getting more and more calls. We've been getting more and more interviews, like you wouldn't believe here.
That's good.
Yeah. And so that's good to know and all that, and that's always encouraging, and that's what I like to hear. So.
Yeah, it's always good news to hear to hear anything that's going on in Watchtower. I saw something on Reddit where somebody said that there were 17 people consistently for a while in the congregation, but it's dropped to an all-time low on a Sunday to 13. And they used to have, like, 5 to 10 years ago, 100 people, 100 publishers, and now there's nobody. And like, they took a picture of it, and I sorry for not having it. You could probably find it if you search for it on Reddit, but it shows the audience, and it looks like remember when we used to have the book studies in the 90s, and like if you had the direction to go to the Kingdom Hall, there was like maybe 15, 20 people in there, and there's like, it looked empty. That's exactly what it looked like in the audience, and they're crumbling.
Yeah, well, that's good to know and all that, because they sure have done a lot of damage. I mean, it was worse than I thought. Now, I want to clarify something. I'm not an ex-witness, but I was heavily involved with them. They used to come to the house all the time, and they used to use my place as a stomping ground, so to speak. And at the time, in the 70s and 80s, I felt they were nice people and everything like that. They had their own religious beliefs. I didn't necessarily agree with them. I was not as religious as they were, but I had them come over to my place, and I was heavily involved with them and so forth, until they messed over a buddy of mine. I happened to find out several years later that they messed over a buddy of mine and so forth. And to make a long story short, I can't tell it all tonight, but make a long story short, I went over to the hall to try to help him straighten things out. And they were nothing but rude. I didn't go to the Kingdom Hall. We met because the Kingdom Hall was 17 miles down the road, and they agreed to meet with us down at a local community hall in the town. I'm not going to mention the area because this gentleman asked me not to. So we went over there, and they were nothing but rude to him. I was supposed to go in with him, but they wouldn't let me. But then they talked to him, and then they talked to me individually, and they're nothing but rude to me and so forth. And then the meeting was over. I started out the door and all that. Then I turned around to them and I said, you know, there was a time that you were welcome at my place. I says, but you're no longer welcome there anymore. And then they said, well, can we come and see your mother and dad? And I says, I don't know, ask them. So that was about the end of any relationship with the Watchtower Society. They never come to my place anymore. I only had the opportunity of studying the one book with them, The Truth That Leads to Eternal Life, or as most people would say, the falsehood that leads you to internal damnation, or something like that. And I only had one. They only studied that. Then they left. They always would leave a bunch of other books with me to read, and always some literature. But when they come over, we would always have a topical discussion on something and so forth, and it was interesting and constructive. But it didn't last that way and so forth. So back in the 70s and 80s, that was the last time I seen them, and I've every time they come up to my place because of the incident, I refuse to talk to them. So.
Yeah, I tell you, there's just so many stories from Watchtower, so many horrible things that they put us through. It's like to the point where nothing phases you anymore.
Yeah. Well,
John Marciano says it's funny that Morris focused on tight pants but not short skirts. Wow. Yeah, that kind of makes them look homosexual. Maybe the military. Not that there's anything wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but why does he focus on tight pants and not bikinis and not short skirts? And I knew a sister who had a belly button piercing, and then when an elder came by the beach, she took it out real quick.
Oh boy, yeah. Yeah, well, that's really outrageous and everything like that. What's going on? Like, I just wanted to comment here that we've heard, like my stories, we've heard about every week we heard a story of similar nature. Similar story right down the road here and all that. That's why that I've never been on six screens to give very much of my experiences, or very much of the gentleman that my friend here. That's the only documentary I took of a guy that was involved with the witnesses. I'm not even sure if he was an ex-witness or not, and so forth. But the way that he talked, but I've never been on there and so forth. But I can attest to the fact that every time we come on the six screens, and every time we get the news and the commentaries and all that, we hear the same kind of stories over and over and over. Everybody is over by the watch.
Yeah, yes, sir. It seems like someone else wants to come on, brother. Let's let the other brother come on real quick.
Hit star 6 and everything like that. If we can get another caller on here,
I'm talking right now. I'm trying to.
Go ahead, buddy.
Push star 6.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was listening to Ken's story, and to a certain extent, it's not necessarily Watchtower; it's individuals. But it reminded me of one individual. He was an elder, and this was in North Carolina. And when they go door to door, they would just chit chat. And I was down to business. I thought the Watchtower was a true religion, and I thought we were saving lives. And I brought along my King James because most people in that area listened to the King James or believed in the King James. So I brought the King James. I had a study King James, and it had the references and everything that I got from a funeral home, and it was like the greatest tool. And yet the brothers were complaining that I'm bringing a King James, and I had a attaché case that I carried my books in. And they wanted just to go to the doors and chit chat and become friends. And to a certain extent, that's what the Watchtower as a whole does. They get people's confidence and they blind people. So I just want to share that aspect of my story.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Sorry for the delay. Um,
Oh, that's all
I
right.
love I love hearing everybody's story. It's so important to add. My brother at one point, who's a PIMO, he told me that I'm acting like a what did he call me? I'm sorry for having a brain fart. He didn't say activist, which I would have appreciated. Man, I can't think of the word. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart. You know how you're trying to think of the word, a word of to describe something, and I just can't think of it in this moment.
Apostate? Was he calling you?
No, not apostate. It was what do you call like the wokeism when they do like activism or I'm not trying. It's not even woke. It's more than that. I can't think of. I'm just having a brain fart, and I can't tell my story.
That's right. We know what you're talking about, even if we don't know the word. That's all right.
Yeah, but he basically was calling me a crybaby, somebody who was just trying to make something of nothing. And I'm like, no, that's not what it is. We're people who are exposing truth. I'm sorry for not getting the word out properly, everyone.
That's all
But
right.
he basically was calling me out, saying I was a crybaby. To make a long story short, and I'm like, no, that's not what it is. You fight for truth. You fight for freedom. You know what? William Wallace is not fiction, or I'm sorry, not. Yeah, it's not. It happened. William Wallace. It might not have completely gone the way it did in the movies, but men fought for freedom, and they died for freedom, even in America and in several countries. And it's just, what does Watchtower do? What do the witnesses do? They stay neutral over everything. They say leave it in Jehovah's. They make rules, and they punish you over these rules, but then when it doesn't go right and it's screwed up, they say, oh, we'll leave it in Jehovah's hands. No, you can't do that. That's they blame everything on Jehovah. They blame New Light on Jehovah. The New Light scheme. Oh well, Jehovah releases things as they come along. Now that's saying God. You're blaming your weaknesses on God, basically. Sorry for getting so off point. I'm getting in a rant.
That's all right. I just want to say too that I was
Yeah,
in
go
many
ahead. I'm sorry.
congregations. I was in many different congregations at different times. I was
Yep.
in Texas. I was in Colorado. I was in California, New Mexico, Carolina, Virginia. So each congregation has a different personality. Each person within that congregation has different personalities. So when you have different personalities that sometimes clash, sometimes click, you're gonna have different experiences. But as a whole, the Watchtower, what you said about leave it in Jehovah's hands, that's so stupid. But they do say that. They have these cliches that affect these different personalities. And when they say leave it in Jehovah's hands, that's when they don't want you to do anything about it. And yet, if somebody does something wrong, they don't leave that in Jehovah's hands. They want to criticize and disfellowship people. So they're a bunch of hypocrites.
What a good point. Absolutely, they are hypocrites. And then like somebody else, I can't remember who it was that we were talking about. There's the Good Old Boys Club where elders stick up for their sons or daughters, and they don't get touched. And it's so hypocritical, like you were talking about hypocrites.
Mm-hmm. I think about this a lot, that there's many people within the organization that I grew up with, and they're like family to me, even though maybe they don't treat me like family anymore. And it's just that we are human, and when we get to know somebody, regardless of what religion they are, they became a part of our life. And the Watchtower people, the Jehovah's Witnesses, don't understand that. They don't understand humanity. They just know what their cult teaches them. And so they're so far behind in social graces that they're just blinded and led by the led by the ring nose.
Led by the what?
Ring nose. That's something that they would put in a cow, a ring nose, and pull it along so it would.
Oh, okay. Yep. I get that analogy now. Okay. Yep. Or like the blind, or putting the blinders on a horse, something like that, just to pull them along.
That fits too. Blinders.
Both analogies do. I get the the ring horn too, because growing up in Rhode Island, there's farms, in Warren, Rhode Island and stuff. My grandfather used to take me to. I've seen that. I've seen how they take care of their animals. But yeah, that's a good analogy, man. Well, all right. Sorry, it's getting a little quiet here. It's getting late. Is there anybody else that wanted to talk on the phone lines? If not, I'll let the brother.
I had just called in, so I had heard you and Ken talking. So I just want to. Basically, I've been so busy, I haven't been able to call into Six Screens lately. So I miss you guys, and I just wanted to say hello and see what you guys were up to.
Yeah, Happy New Year's, brother. Who are we talking to?
This is Larry John Wayne in California.
Oh, hey, Larry John Wayne. How you doing, buddy? I know you.
Good. Yeah, good.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Friends here. Wait, beg your pardon?
Did you have a good Christmas?
Well, each person handles things differently, and I never started celebrating Christmas, although I don't have a hang-up about other people. And when other people greet me Merry Christmas, I say Merry Christmas right back.
Yeah, I feel you. You know what it is, Larry? It doesn't mean anything to us. It just like we didn't grow up with it, so it just doesn't really connect. But you know what I do? My wife and I we made a really good meal for ourselves, and that was our Christmas. That's it, basically. And we're thankful for having a decent house and a 2-bedroom house for an affordable price, and just be able, it's almost like Thanksgiving for us, literally.
I really do like Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving's the best holiday, right?
Yeah. Because the custom of having a turkey and pumpkin pie, all that is so delicious, and it gives you a good excuse to have. Not that we need an excuse, but the turkeys are available, and it says, "Hey, let's have turkey. Let's have turkey and dressing." And so it's a kind of unique holiday that everyone can do. I did a little speech. I had a program on the Six Screens, and I talked about compared the Watchtower to the Puritans. The Puritans wouldn't celebrate anything, and Watchtower is just like that. There's really nothing wrong with Thanksgiving,
no.
But they make it a big deal. Oh, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Well, why not? Why not?
My family celebrated Thanksgiving, even if they didn't say they were. Why? Because we had turkey, right? Because it was on sale. Even on the day, I swear to you, Larry. And then we had the stuffing, which I'll be honest with you, the stuffing, the gravy, and the potatoes are the best part of it, right? And what else? Am I missing something? All the sides. All the sides are the best. The sweet potato. My wife don't like sweet potato, but I love it. Like all that is really, really good. I love the sides. The turkey's always dry unless someone can really make it calm. But but like we celebrated it, even if we didn't do it. Even if we didn't say it out loud, we were doing it. And then what did my dad do? My dad's a sports nut. What's he watching on Thanksgiving after he had his Thanksgiving meal? Freaking football.
Yeah. Yeah, my father was an elder, and he was he was a he was a different kind of hypocrite. I have to say he was a hypocrite, but at least even though we said we didn't celebrate Thanksgiving, my father would say in justification, well, everyone's having turkey. It's like if everybody has a piece of candy, you want a candy too. So everybody's having turkey, and it's on sale, and it sounds so good. We're going to have turkey too. So that was his justification for having turkey, which, again, there's nothing wrong with it at all, any way, shape, or form. But you would think that a true Jehovah's Witness would make an effort to not have turkey on the same day as everybody else.
Right. Even my grandmother, she's super preemie, and she's like, she gave me a cupcake on my birthday, and I looked at her and I'm like, birthday cake? And she slightly slaps my hand. She's like, oh no. Like, she didn't hurt me at all. She just like, it wasn't even aggressive. It was just like, she was offended that I said that. And I'm like, well, what the hell is it? That it's a cake, right? It's a cupcake. It's my birthday. It's a birthday cake.
Right. Yeah.
But it just shows, I really thought that the birthdays was a pagan thing, but now that I've broken free, I'm like, there is nothing wrong. And I found out in the scriptures that even like, I don't remember what Bible characters, but they celebrated birthdays, and it's like, wow, like, there's nothing wrong with that. We were so um micromanaged by the governing body. They took our free thoughts, our minds, everything from us, and they took innocent things from us.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, you're right. I can't think of it either who it was, but there's an incident that a true believer was celebrating. It didn't say a birthday, but maybe a day of birth, or I forget how it said it, but you know that it was a birthday celebration. And yet, when they say there was a birthday celebration, and somebody got their head chopped off, like John the Baptizer, he got his head chopped off because of a birthday. Well, wait a minute. They're also having a feast that day. They were having a feast, so it's wrong to have a feast because it was a birthday, right? They had a feast on that birthday, so it's wrong to have a feast. They had wine on a birthday, so it must be wrong to have wine, right? But yet they only see the birthday itself as being wrong because somebody's killed on that day. And yet Jesus Christ was murdered on the day that they celebrate. Well, if he was murdered, then they should be celebrating it because somebody was murdered.
No, I get what you're saying.
Total hypocrites.
They're hypocrites in so many ways, and it's like, even my father, he kicked me out of his house, right, for smoking pot. My father got disfellowship for living a double life for 6 years of smoking pot and selling it, and he kicks me out of his house for it, and then I get disfellowshipped again for weed, and he cuts me off again, and it's just like, the same guy that is shunning me. At one point, he told me, it's the best high ever, Eric. Who knows? Maybe we'll be smoking dope in paradise. And it doesn't make sense. It's madness. Isn't it madness? Isn't it madness to hear something like that?
Yeah. Can I share something with you guys?
Please.
Okay. It's come up to my mind several times. My father has already passed away, but it comes up to my mind the Watchtower history that I lived through. I remember one time when I was very young, I think I was about 15, and there was a sweet sister, and they had announced that somebody got disfellowshipped. And at that time, they would even tell what they got disfellowship for. And this sweet sister said to my father, and the family was there, so she said it with it that I heard too. She said, "Oh, that's so embarrassing to, it's so embarrassing when they announce it." And then my father said, "They need to be embarrassed." Such an arrogant SOB. And yet, when he got later years, I was I guess in my 18 or 19, in my young teens, and my father shot at a woman 16 times, thinking she was a dog or a coyote, excuse me. It's a long story. I won't tell all the details. But he shot at her
Oh my God.
times. Missed her every time. He should have thanked God that he was a bad shot. But he shot at her 16 times with a rifle, missed her every time. And yet he had all his kids promise that we would never tell anybody. Can you imagine? He's an elder, and he thinks that everybody else should be shamed in front of people what they do that's wrong, and yet he's such a coward that he wouldn't even admit or didn't want anybody to find out that he shot at somebody, and it's total hypocrite that he expects others to confess, and then he himself cowered at telling, "Oh, I made a mistake. I shot at this woman." Even though nothing happened, she survived. She didn't get hit. She didn't even get wounded. And yet he was so, oh my God, words can't express the hypocrisy that I've experienced growing up. Not just from my father, but a lot of elders and a lot of people in that Watchtower.
There is a lot of hypocrisy in the organization. I saw it too. My dad was an elder for a short time, but he was never really in the club. But my grandfather was, but he didn't have strings over me. All the mistakes I ever made, he never pulled me out of it or anything. So he didn't have that. Or I don't know if it was care or just that there was only so much he could do, or I'm not sure. I got the scholarship twice for smoking pot, and
You just reminded me of something. Another experience I want to share real quick. Okay.
yeah, please.
My father and mother were living in my trailer because they were moving in there. Anyway, they were living in my trailer, and so I let them have the master bedroom. And I can't remember if I was sleeping in the living room on the couch or what, but I had my own phone, and I was working at this construction company, and they had a fire safety meeting, and this company came to advertise their smoke alarms and fire detectors. And so they set up off hours, a business presentation or sales presentation, and they happened to be doing it in a hotel. So they called for me because I had given my name and number. So some days later, I wasn't expecting it, but they called, and my mom answered the phone. And it happened to be what the salesperson was a woman. And she asked for me, Larry Wayne, and, "Oh, he's not here right now." So she said, "Oh, can you have him meet me at the hotel?" So she told my father, and so of course they thought something sinister. They thought I was meeting this woman for sex. And so, and I didn't think anything of it. I knew what it was. I was so innocent that I didn't even try to explain to them what it was. I just, okay, thank you. And I went to the hotel. You know what? My father followed me as if he was a detective. I didn't see him. I wasn't paying attention. So he followed me at a distance when I went to this hotel. I went to the hotel, parked my car, and I guess he parked in the parking lot and watched me go in. And I was in there, I don't know, the presentation was maybe an hour long. And so he waited there for an hour for me to come out. And then he confronted me. So wait a minute. If it was so sinister as they thought it was, so what he actually did is waited till I did the dirty, and then confronted me afterwards. If he really thought, if he was a loving person and a loving father, and he really thought I was going there for a rendezvous with some woman to have sex, especially in the mind of a Jehovah Witness, he should have stopped me, right? But he waited. He waited till I was
right,
supposedly done, and of course there was nothing going on. It was just a presentation, but he didn't know that. Can you imagine that?
yeah. You know, they get into your personal business, and it's disgusting.
Well, this is my own father. My own father.
What was there someone else that was trying to get on? I heard some background noise, but I could be wrong. Okay, sorry, Larry. Didn't mean to interrupt you. But yeah, you know, Watchtower really they really hurt us. They cause us emotional damage, and everyone reacts differently to it. And I think that's where the XJW community needs to align themselves, or like unite themselves more to understand that different people reacted differently to the damage that's been done to them. Because that there's you name it, there's numerous ways that they've hurt us, whether it's sexually, emotionally, physically, even it doesn't even have to be sexually in a molestation way. It can even just be a sexual, like they pent you up, and like the sisters not having being able to have, I don't know why that is, that there's more brothers and sisters. I didn't think that that was the case. I thought that they were running out of brothers and that they needed sisters to do the microphones, but I don't know. I guess it depends what part of the country or what part of the world.
Well, there's still probably more women than men, no matter where you are.
Sure.
But maybe in certain congregations, there's not.
They have a harder time having brothers with responsibility. That makes sense.
Yes, just the fact that there might have been brothers, but they're not stepping up. So who knows? Maybe these sisters are going out in service, and the men aren't. Who knows? Although I've seen, it seemed like younger girls running the mics. So I don't know. Each congregation is different, but that is so untypical or atypical of Watchtower to allow women. And I have nothing against it, but usually Watchtower had everything against using women or females for responsibilities, unless they wore a head covering and there was no one else to do it. They had to wear a head covering.
You know what? I wanted to bring out a point in the comment section. Debbie Moore, you rocked it. This is a really good point. She says Jehovah's Witnesses have a baby shower to celebrate the birth of a baby, sometimes before birth, sometimes after the birth, thus a birthday party. That's a rockin' good mother effing point. Yeah, heck yeah. I agree with that. I never thought of that. They are essentially celebrating a birthday.
True. And if they can do that, they want to call it a baby shower. So if they want to do that, that's great. And why not do it every year? Because the whole purpose of a baby shower is to get things for that baby. So every year that baby's going to outgrow everything it had the first year. So why not do it every year? Hence a birthday party.
How stupid. You know, when I was disfellowshipped, one of the times, I've been disfellowshipped twice. When someone found out that like I never celebrated my birthday, we like went out to like an Irish pub and had a good time and met people, and we had a good time, man. I had drinks for free, and I don't know, like it wasn't about that. It just felt good to be celebrated. Like I didn't even want the attention, you know what I mean? Because I don't want too much attention. I think I do think that the Bible was warning, like, hey, there's a balance, you know. I think that's all it was. I don't think it was, and I don't mean to be biblical in this, but I think it was just a warning, like there's a balance um, when it comes to your birthday, because there can be a selfish attitude towards it. That's all. I think they've always given balances. They even given balances over alcohol. You know, that's how I think of it. Eric, there are more sisters than brothers. The women are a large army, and the women do most of the preaching work in JWs. You know what, Debbie Moore? I'm sorry if I got things wrong, because you're right. I will back you up, Deb. Every time I go in my local part of Tennessee in Gallatin, when I go to the carts, which is right downtown in the square, they're all. Um, hmm. I don't like to crash carts for sisters anymore because I feel bad for them, so I don't do it. I try to do, at least if there's a brother or two. 90% are women. Yep, 90% are women. Absolutely. 90%. And the last time I passed by the sisters, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna crash the cart. I have a video of doing it once. Well, it's not a video; it's more of an audio. Maybe I'll show it one day. But yeah, I don't feel right doing it because they look sad and miserable, and sometimes like I'll sit at the cafe that's near them and I'll watch them, and no one's coming by. It's sad. It's really sad and pathetic.
Hello.
And I don't want to hurt them any more than they're being hurt, you know.
Hello. There's a guy.
Yes, I hear you, brother. Or you're a little muffled, whoever it is. Go ahead. Hello.
Yeah, hi. Hello?
Yep, I can barely hear you, but I can hear you in the distance.
Oh, yeah, Eric. I thought it was someone else wanted to talk too, but that's fine. I just
Hey, Tim. I don't know why I can't hear you very well.
Wait up. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
We hear
Can you
you.
hear me better?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I thought there was another guy I wanted to talk to. I was just going to say.
I don't know who was up yet next. Sorry.
All good. Now, with
Go
that
ahead,
whole
Tim.
thing and Herod, I was going to say, with that whole birthday thing and Herod,
Yep.
the witnesses missed the point there. Why was John the Baptizer getting his head cut off exactly? It was because he was calling out Herod's wife for being adulterer. And I learned this on a ex-witness video channel. It's a good one. Phil Evangelinos. It's only a small channel, and what he said is true. Herod is an elected official. He's a government official. He's the king. And John the Baptizer was openly speaking out about his wife. In other words, John the Baptizer was having a political opinion. So they overlook that. You know, they try to tell you can't get involved with politics, and they say, oh, the whole birthday thing. They bring up that one, you can't celebrate birthdays, but in that exact thing is John was being put to death because he was exercising a right to speak out against the political official's wife, and that's why he hated John the Baptizer. You know what I mean? So it's something that's easily missed, but you know, yeah, the whole, just interesting hearing Larry and yourself talk, and you know, I just thought I'd bring that up with the birthday thing. That was all, and I mean, we started doing birthdays ourselves a number of years ago, and I've always felt better about it. You know, you're right. There's nothing to say you can't do it. Just because two bad things happen in the Bible that one time. Whoa, what's going on there? That was weird.
Sorry about that. I had some feedback on my phone. If someone heard that.
Yeah, I heard it.
My bad.
No, it's all good. But yeah, the whole birthday thing, that's just an unnecessary rule. There's nothing scriptural. Just because two bad things happen on the birthday, it doesn't make it seem like you know, the whole feast analogy. That there could be two times, and I'm sure there was two times in the Bible they had a feast and something bad happened. Well, okay, that John the Baptizer thing's one, and the other time was when that city was destroyed. When in the Old Testament, when they were feasting one night, and then the enemy came in and destroyed them. Might have been when the writing on the wall appeared, maybe. That means feasting is bad and pagan.
You talk about the Babylonians.
Yeah.
When they got invaded, they were drunk or whatever, and the gates were open. That's Watchtower right now, and they're doing it to themselves. They're basically drunk on their power, and they're making stupid decisions, and I think it's going to crumble their empire.
Yeah, no, they just make up all man-made rules.
Us apostates or XJWs or however you want to identify, we don't have to or activists, we don't have to do anything anymore. They're doing it to themselves. We could just sit back and just watch it happen.
Oh, that's what I always think. You don't like they say apostate-driven lies, but no apostate. I have seen some that might be bitter, but no one has to make anything up. No one has to, because you use their own word against them. And it kind of, someone was talking about it earlier, just about the donations and stuff. I mean, their own, a prophecy, I would say, from Russell, didn't he once say that the day we have to ask for donations is the day we know that Jehovah's Spirit isn't with this organisation anymore?
He sure did. Yep, he sure did.
Yeah, by his own yardstick, that's been happening in recent years then. And I mean, that's the beauty of all this online recording, and that these days a lot of people pick up on it, and that you can use their own words against each other time and time again. And I think that the activism is even increasing to a new level of almost investigative journalism. Like the Blue Envelope channel, that Phil, he's the one that broke the story on
very good channel. I like the Blue Envelope. Yep.
Yeah, and that's literally investigative journalism. What we need now is more of that, and Project Veritas style. I don't know if you know James O'Keefe. He was with Project Veritas. They're kind of like a they went into Pfizer and places like that, and got their own officials kind of literally saying things that they didn't want said. Whistleblowers, but the thing is with James O'Keefe is they'd have hidden cameras, and they'd have people that would kind of play the game and talk with these people until they release secrets, and then like embarrassing for the company. Yeah, if you look that up, Project Veritas, they kind of distanced from James O'Keefe last year because of a whole scandal after he really outed Pfizer in a really bad way. You never hear it on mainstream. It should be on mainstream news. This dude literally gets people to say, like secretly saying things that are really bad for their organisation. That's what we need coming up, with the witnesses. We need some next level investigative journalism into next year. Who knows? We might see it improve.
No, I agree. We need the media to pick up more on this instead of having snakes like Hendricks, coming on there lying and then buying. I mean, it's showing that the media is corrupt, right? If you're a XJW or if you're somebody listening, if you're political or not, the media is corrupt because they're buying, because we know that they're lying. We know that the witnesses are lying and that they're buying these stories and they're not caring. They're just the money that pays the bills. So they'll put out a story that they don't even investigate themselves. I mean, at one point you have the media bashing them, or not even bashing them, but just telling the truth that they have child sex abuse problems. And then in other areas, you have Hendricks selling them that they have a Forever Peace or whatever convention they're selling. I don't know. I can't think of them all anymore. Whatever one is at the time. and unity, peace, whatever they're selling, and it always has a hidden message, and it's never what they're really trying to say. Well, anyways,
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Eric. And what's his name? Hendricks. He's a piece of work. He's such a snake oil salesman, that guy.
the best way to describe them. Yep.
That's the way they've learned to present themselves over the years. That whole, number of people mentioning about the hypocrisy, yourself included. That was really what I saw early on. Just the fakery in the whole organisation. How people had to act fake, and also even from my own experience, like because I was young as I was growing up, I saw that my family members got into trouble. It was never through so-called worldly people. It was their witness friends were actually the worst. It was like that. Whenever serious things happened, it was always their witness. So-called good association that was dragging them down. And that taught me, right away you can't trust witnesses. And then the other observation was right away you always knew that you couldn't trust elders, kids, and they were often the worst. They'd put on the biggest front.
I think the saddest thing is to see our family members that used to be like my grandparents that were taught many now living will never die, and they're all dead. All my grandparents are dead except one grandma.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that whole thing, it's weird how it reminds me of this, back in Australia in the 90s, there was a Prime Minister that said, no child will be living, it was in the 80s, he goes, no child in Australia will be living in poverty by 1990. That was his election promise. No child would be. And then after that happened, they go, oh, that was a mistake in the speech that was written. It was meant to say no child will need to live in poverty. And that kind of reminds me of the witness thing, because millions, didn't they change it somewhere to millions now living may never die? Like they've actually softened up that wording on some of their books, and also deleted part of those. When they show those old books that said that on the front, they actually delete that part off of it. But yeah, that's what's one thing. They changed the wording so that they were making out they were saying millions now living may never die, which is nearly as stupid, but it's not as definite as will never die. But I guess the older that people become, that's kind of history anyway, and the younger generation, the witnesses, kind of doesn't know any of that, or doesn't care, or wouldn't believe anyway.
Yeah, I don't know I think a lot of the witnesses are apathetic, and a lot of them are just in a trance, and then the rest of them are waking up and they're trying to weasel the way out of it. I used to say in comment sections on Reddit a lot. I got banned from Reddit for my views of abortion, but I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, I can't comment on there anymore. But there's been a lot of good comments on Reddit, and it just seems like that there's a lot of apathy, and that the people are just tired, and even the ones that are, even the PIMOs are just trying. They're just trying to get by, and it's hurting them, and they don't. Nobody's really enthusiastic anymore. Is the gist of that I'm getting from people that I know, and from Reddit, and just word of mouth.
I would hope that some of my family that's still part of it. Yeah, I always hold the hope that one day they might call up and actually talk and be left it, because they're just so into it. I mean, that I probably talk to each family member once, like every 2 years on average. that kind of just goes to show how the organisation distances you. Like I pretty much stopped going when I was 21, and in over 30 years, like one of my brothers was in it, and he died 2 years ago, and I had not seen him for over 20. So I only really, when I was 16, I spent a bit of time working with him. And then the next time I saw him, I was 21, 22 at the oldest. And like we were living in a different state and that, but I'd never actually physically seen him since then.
Wow.
Like his whole life passed and lived. And, you know, he did ring up a couple of times. Like there wasn't actually a feud, but it's just the way, in my opinion, the religion makes you, they keep distant, and it's not like I couldn't contact them, but I've lived my own life, kids, you know, and struggles, and you don't also want to contact them because you know the conversation always is going to revert back to the religion, and you kind of don't want to hear it. It's just so annoying to hear. So even though I've never been shunned, I've never been fellowshipped, that's the way it is with all of my family members nearly. That I think the most recent I saw one of my brothers was that would be going back 7 or 8 years, as a random time, because he was visiting where I live for an assembly, and he managed, there were still magazines at the time, and he managed to give me a few magazines before he went, you know. So even though I could have idle chit chat for half an hour and I had to go, you know, they always pull out the magazines. So yeah, it's just insane. But I bet that if any one of them leaves the organisation, they will contact me suddenly. That's how it goes. Always. You know, you'd find the same. If someone that you know, that kind of block, that mental block or whatever it is, that prevents.
Sure. Even when the second time I got disfellowshipped, I got a phone call and I knew who it was, and it was my friend Joe, and he is like, "Hey man, I'm disfellowshipped," and I'm like, "Yeah, I heard," and he's like, "You want to hang out?" And we did, you know. But like the hard thing about it is because it was my second rodeo, I had already experienced so-called the world, you know. So certain things like I didn't really want to do anymore. Like I'm like, nah, I've tried things already that aren't cool with me. Like no thanks. But I dragged me into it anyways. But like long story short, it's so sad that like there's such division. Even an elder one time, he told me, I heard you're hanging out with Joe Janess, and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, what else are you gonna do? You know, you got nobody. And I'm like, well, fucking finally, somebody that like can relate for 2 seconds. Sorry to cuss everyone, but it just like, geez, you know, like yeah, exactly. Like I mean, like our whole world is set up around not being around the world. So you cut us off from a community and we're isolated. And I've been isolated twice, but you know what? No, I've only really truly been isolated once, and it's right now until six screens with my wife and I mean. But uh when I got this fellowship the first time, it was not isolation. It was a kind of a freedom because my cousin took me in, who was raised as a witness, and he did not become a witness ever, and he gambled, right? Like nothing hardcore, just poker amongst friends. And I played poker with him. We smoked pot. So he didn't really do much, but I liked it more than he did. And then we drank a little bit, and then I don't know. We weren't bad people, you know. He was good to his kids. It just the world puts like voodoo and like or not the world, the organization makes the world look like it's voodoo and everything's bad when it's not as nearly as bad as the Jehovah's Witnesses are even. Sorry, was someone trying to speak up? I'm babbling.
Yeah. I just want to say something. We heard you say several times that you've been disfellowshipped twice. I have a question for anybody that's listening. I've been also disfellowshipped twice in my life. Is there anybody that was disfellowshipped more than twice?
I would like to hear if anybody's listening if they produced fellowship more than twice. Let's see if we can find the record.
Well, can I, does it count if I know somebody who's been disfellowshipped more than twice? Like personally, like I actually know this man.
Yeah.
Does that count? Does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
Okay. The rumor was 5 times, and I thought that for a while, but then the horse of the mouth said no, it's 4.
Oh, okay.
4 times. That's the only record I've heard so far. On 6 screens, one time, I think I've talked about this before, and somebody said 5. But 4 times for Don Rodricks, and you know what? He killed himself. I would pour a beer over the ground if I could, metaphorically, for my friend. I don't know if he would have got this fellowship the 5th time for it, but he hung himself. And I'm very sad. I'm very sad for that man.
Why did he hang himself? Was it because of their ostracism or what?
I think so. Well, his brother, he was a district overseer, and he no, wait, am I saying that right? He gave the is it district overseer? Yeah, he was a district overseer, his brother, and he gave talks on the district convention and everything higher up. And this guy, he was a millionaire. He had a auto parts store, and he was a Jehovah's Witness. I think he made servant at one point, and he found out that his wife committed adultery with an elder from another kingdom hall. So this guy, to get revenge, had an affair with his wife because he knew that she had a crush on him, and so he played her a little bit, and like when they were in high school together. So when he had sex with her, he got her pregnant, and I found out like years and years and years down the road. A friend of mine told me this, and I'm like, what? Because I know the kid who they covered up and said that it was you know, just the father's kid, but it really wasn't. And this kid doesn't look like anyone from the family, and woof. And I just feel bad for this guy. He had a lot. He had to eat that for his whole life. That his kid was brought up by another man, and they never told because of the shame that it would have brought. And I don't know. I don't know what caused the suicide. It could have been anything. It could have been the 4 shunnings. It could have been the secrecy of that. I'll just tell you that Watchtower tortures your soul. And when someone makes a mistake, just let them make the mistake and be honest and clean about it so that they can grow from their mistake. That's the biggest problem with Watchtower, even with my family. I would like to proudly say that my mother and my mother-in-law act like 16 and 17-year-olds. They've never personally grown. It's not an insult. They haven't grown up. And Watchtower keeps you down. And you when you make a sin, or let's not even call it a sin. Let's just say a mistake. When you make a mistake, you grow from it. And that's what you got to do. You got to say, oh, hey, this happened, unfortunately. I mean, to bury it and to keep that, it must tear someone inside. But I really don't know why he did it. But that would be my guess. But I just think it's sad because I know there's a lot of stories out there that probably like that. Sorry to get it dark to everyone in the audience. I don't mean to bring the mood down at all.
It's good. It's good. People know that, and our hearts go out to anyone that suffered to that extent or took it to that extent to commit suicide. It's sad. I know Christ. You know, religion and the Watchtower likes to put people down that commit suicide, and it's not to condone suicide. But people who can't tolerate anymore and they do suicide, I know Christ loves them and He's going to bring them back to life wherever that will be.
I unfortunately know too many people. Well, between my wife and I, that have committed suicide from Watchtower. Like I knew another friend of mine. I'm sorry if this is too dark of a road to anybody listening, they can tell me. But another brother I knew, when I was disfellowshipped the first time, I was at a bar, and it was called the Italian Club. It was in Warren, Rhode Island, and I've told this story before, but he was there. This brother, right? And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, Frank, and he's like, no, what? And he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, oh, you're his brother, because I didn't realize, like, I was so confused. They looked, even though he had long hair, and it wouldn't be Frank, like they looked so much alike that I couldn't. They even sounded alike, and uh, Frank Fody was a elder that he's been in my elder committees and stuff like that. Like, so his brother Jeff, um, I was talking to him and he told me that he was disfellowshipped, and I'm not going to tell his story because it's long, but it's a really sad story what happened to him. He left his wife, long story short, for another woman, and she died of cancer 6 months later. And he was in a messed up relationship with his wife, and he told me to go back to the religion because he knew I told him I was disfellowshipped, and I'm like, nah, I don't think so. And he's like, no, I'm telling you, there's no better place that I've ever been happy. And then it was like 6 months later, he hung himself, and it was like, he, this is what Watchtower's doing to you. Just because his life went bad, you know what I mean? Like, because he left his wife, he had in my opinion, he had a legitimate reason to leave his wife, and I won't get into that. I don't want to upset the audience or really expose this dead brother's problems, but it's just so sad. Like, maybe there is no legitimate reason. Maybe I'm full of shit, but I'm just saying I understood his story, and he saw himself as a bad man, and he wasn't. He was a really good man, and he attached Watchtower to him being the most happy, but it wasn't true. What it really was is that he thought he was happy, but when shit hit the fan, it didn't work out for him. And what did they do? They burned him at the stake. They disfellowshipped him, and they hurt him. When the man was low at his lowest. I don't know. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, uh, when I got disfellowshipped the second and last time, there was a magazine that came out the same year. It was already published, but it hadn't been studied yet. It was a study article, and it was supposed to come out studied in a few more months after I was disfellowshipped. So according to Watchtower rules and regulations, technically you're supposed to study ahead, right? Especially the elders, they're supposed to read the magazines ahead of time, even before they go out door to door, which the study articles were in the Watchtowers that used to be presented at the doors. So the year that they disfellowshipped me, the Watchtower actually said anyone that was disassociated for years, not dissociated, inactive, anyone who's inactive for years, and they come back and confess, they will not be disfellowshipped. And that was exactly my story. I had been inactive for years, and I came back. I wanted to confess. I confessed. The very day I confessed, they slaughtered me. So they don't even follow their own magazines. And had they even followed their own magazine, they shouldn't have disfellowshipped me. But not only that, if they found out after the study article that they shouldn't have disfellowshipped me, they should have reinstated me. And yet they didn't want to. I went 3.5 years. Finally, during that time, I realized they're a false religion. And after 3.5 years, actually, I already knew they were a false religion after about 2 years. But I went the additional 1.5 years just to see how long they would be unchristian and unmerciful. And after 3.5 years, I just couldn't stand being around them anymore. I literally got sick to my stomach going to the kingdom halls and seeing and hearing their snobbery against people who have been disfellowshipped. And of course, it's as if they were saying it just to taunt me. One brother on the platform would say that Jehovah made the decision, and the elders, the committee, just follow what Jehovah already decided. And another thing that they said on the platform was that disfellowship people are serving false gods. Disfellowship people are serving false gods. And yet, they said that when I was already continuing to go to the Kingdom Halls for 2 years, sitting in the front section of the hall. Everybody sees me every day. I mean, every meeting, and I'm trying to get back, and yet I'm serving false gods at the Kingdom Hall.
I know the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
It never seems to end. I mean, they're always gaslighting us, and they're always calling us names. And I find it hilarious that when you get reinstated, that they want you to study with them because they want to re-indoctrinate you because they know you've been in the world and that you've had freedom. Man, did I had great experiences that I realized that kept me down so much, and they were innocent. When I was disfellowshipped, with the so-called world, and I say that with quotation fingers. Better friends than the witnesses for sure. In fact, one person, when I was getting reinstated the first time, he said to me, and the only time, he said to me, "Hey, when you get disfellowshipped again, I'll still be here for you." And now that I know like what the organization is, that's monumental. That's huge. That's more love because that's like unconditional love. He's like, "You're not going to love me right now, but that's okay because I know how you people are. But when you get disfellowshipped again, I'm here for you." Like that's a real friend. But anyways, everyone, I don't know who's left on here. Let's see what Debbie Moore says. And I was publicly reproved that nothing happened to him, and it proves that it was an organization run by men who thought women were less than periods. Yeah, less than them. It's a very misogynistic organization. I have to admit, even with myself, like you were indoctrinated to think a certain way of even the women's roles, depending on where you lived, especially New England. There's a lot of mental freedom when you leave Watchtower, but you have to free yourself from it. You can't just join another cult. You can't join another man's thoughts. You have to critically think, and you have to think for yourself and just say, well, what fits for me, what makes sense to me, what makes me a better person. You can't let other people decide that, in my opinion, for you. Someone trying to speak up. What time is it anyways? I'm getting tired. It's about midnight my time, 10 minutes till, or 12 minutes till. But I don't know. Is anyone left out there? Let me look at the comment section real quick. Make sure anybody isn't trying to leave a message here. Sorry, everyone. You know what? I'm gonna mute my camera for a second and just see what's going on. Well, I don't know. Is anyone on the phone line? There's not too much activity, and I'm running out of things to say. All good, Eric. I think most people have left. Yeah, I think I'm about done too, y'all. If Rick's out there, I think we're about ready to end the program. I'm getting pretty tired. I don't know if anybody else is on the phone line, but I think we're gonna call it an end now. Call it an end. I think we're gonna call it quits now, unless someone's out there. Someone trying to speak up.
All right, Eric, we'll end it here then. That's good.
Yeah, we'll end it here. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody who listened tonight, and have a happy new year, and love you all. Thanks, Rick. And love to you and Susan. Take care, y'all.